Cameron.
The Seminole Headlines 93.3 Real Talk Radio Warchant TV begins right now. I see my boys. There's Ira. There's Corey on the other side of the glass. Hello, everybody. This brought to you by, as always, in part, Register Sausage. Yay, sausage.
That was a throaty one.
We're out the gates, baby. We're good to go. Bought registers, if I could say it. Good Lord, that word's kicking my ass today. Yesterday. Yeah, yesterday morning. Publix on the way home. Got the short links.
Oh, the short links.
Was feeling the short links.
Just the short links?
Just the short links. They were practically sold out.
Yeah, I was going to say, and you want to save it for other people too. You don't want to be a hoarder.
No, and they were preciously low. I mean, I couldn't believe it. I was like, well, good for Ben. They're selling out, but
sounds like you might need to talk to that meat manager.
Get after him next time.
Some more
Let him know what are we doing around here.
That seems aggressive. Like, it's one thing if we go and complain when they don't carry it at all.
Yeah,
but if they're just a little light,
still.
Hey, I noticed there's only 2 Indoes over there.
Yeah, Corey's taking it to the next level of complaining. He's just like a modern citizen.
They don't run out of. They're not low on Cocoa Krispies or Diet Coke. They don't need to be low on registers ever.
If you live in the wonderful state of Florida, the beautiful state of Florida, or
lately it's been gorgeous.
Various other. Oh man, that's why. You know what?
Can we do the show outside?
This is my official last hoodie wearing day.
You can't get away with that.
I
anymore.
thought 2 or 3 weeks ago I was like, I'm done with the hoodie for this year. But then I woke up this morning and I said, you know what? We're going with the hoodie. It's my last chance until maybe November.
Let me ask you, that was a fashion choice. You weren't actually cold.
I wasn't.
I'm getting worried. I know you're getting up there in age.
I was glad to know it was an option.
Okay.
No, but I was not cold.
Okay.
But if you don't live in the Southeast, the continually growing, expansive reach of Register Sausage, you can order it online at registermeats.com. Ben and his people, Noles, they will have it shipped to you. It'll come fresh, delicious, a bunch of different varieties, not just the short links. You got the jalapeno cheddar. You got the hot sausage, which is fantastic. And then the regular, the OG, and a bunch of different varieties. So check it out, registermeats.com.
Where do we want to start? Celebrating the end of the portal?
Yeah, that's a good
place.
Can we just all collectively, the 3 of us at the very least, really get excited about that? I think fans get excited about that.
We could preview tonight's Florida State baseball game.
I didn't even know they were playing.
In Jacksonville. And it's also not on TV, which I think is a nice gesture.
Yeah, it is. Nice.
Man, that'll be the one they win.
Nobody sees it. Yeah, it's like a tree in the forest.
So, again, I have to do this every time.
We're not doing baseball. Don't listen.
No, I'm not complaining about baseball.
Oh, I thought
complaining about baseball coverage. There was a day.
The idea that this is not even televised. Now, this is a rescheduled game, so I'm sure that's part of it.
Florida, what are we doing?
Yeah, Sunshine would have been over there.
Man,
maybe over there doing a
you would have had
show.
a 48-hour pregame build up to this matchup. Sunshine did all things excessively Florida. I'm at to the point where you're like, well, good God, guys. But I'd rather that than what we have now, which is good luck. Maybe you'll find it.
We got Lulu. You can listen to Lulu.
You can.
And they've got the game day app also, and you can follow us online. Well, I'm sure we'll have a live thread on the message board.
Feel bad for Lulu this year.
Yeah, no, I think he's a trooper though. I told him, I text him during the game sometimes just to let him know. I was making a run to Fresh Market the other day. I listened to an inning of us getting our ass beat. And I texted and was like, hey man, way to hang in there. I know we're down 12, but you're still fighting the good fight. He laughed. I mean, at the commercial break, I got a little laugh emoji.
So, yeah, I'm sure he appreciates it. He doesn't get a whole lot of laughs. But, man, let's start off with celebrating the end of the portal window.
Yeah. All things considered,
they did well.
Not bad, right? You got to imagine a couple are coming back this way here in the next week or two, right? And I would say the 2 that you might lament or are, it depends on what you bring back, but are Pittman and McClendon. Right? And all things considered, when you look around the country, to have only 2 post-spring that you kind of like, oh man, are you going to be able to fill those holes? That seems like you got off pretty well, especially considering what you brought in December.
But I mean, there's a chance. I mean, at receiver, they could upgrade.
Yes,
because of some of the players that are out there that they're getting involved with. So that may end up being a net positive. The other thing is safety, just because of the cluster. You lost 2 safeties and you don't have a lot. So, but I feel confident that they'll replace that.
Yeah, not a ton of depth there. We discussed the UAB kid. Maybe they bring in. We'll see. They've got some options, but it will be interesting to see them be aggressive, look for a grad transfer, something like that. I do believe they will. But, yeah, I think that anytime you start to stockpile talent and you raise the floor of that talent and you realize that teams are going to come pick off some of your players, if you get away with only losing some reserves and, some guys that were kind of role players, for lack of a better term, you feel really good about it. I mean, if we were going to grade these, would you say the biggest loss here is what? McClendon?
Probably. But only in my opinion, because you don't know what Micah Pittman was going to be, man. Like, how healthy was he going to be? Was he going to be able to even play in September and play effectively? McClendon was a starter-ish guy that gives you 4.
He was going to be in the rotation for sure.
He gave you 4 competent. You probably have 2 very good defensive ends, and the other 2 could be competent, solid guys, and he was one of those guys.
Based on what I'm hearing, by the way, I do not believe, Corey, to answer your question, I do not believe Micah Pittman was going to play against LSU. I'm not sure he was going to play against Clemson. So if that's the case, you didn't lose much of anything.
Well, and he was 25 yards a game last year.
But it's not the yardage. He's a tough kid and a great blocker and a good teammate.
And I loved his mindset.
Right. But beyond that, if he can't play in the 2 biggest games of the year, meaning LSU and Clemson, hey, man, have a good one.
It's just not that big of a loss.
Right.
Quentin in the chat says he's got some breaking news for us. He's in Mobile, Alabama, at Vigor High School. I think it's Vigor High School.
Okay.
But he said Patrick Surtain is there recruiting right now. He just talked to him. That's also the home of Sidney Williams, former Florida State Seminole, now Missouri Tiger.
Oh, he went to Missouri.
Yeah.
Did that happen recently?
At some point over the last couple.
Okay. But, so no Colorado.
Not Colorado. I think maybe he missed the big. What's the opposite of an exodus? The influx. The big
Inodus.
When he went in the portal, Deion hadn't cut half of his 2/3 of his team at that point.
Yeah.
By the way, like, it's funny to see, like, on Twitter or if people have been asking me too, to just know what I do. Like, man, Colorado's getting all of Florida State's players, and I'm like, they're not getting the ones that Florida State really misses that much. Like,
they did not the good ones.
They did not raid and get the best groceries in the pantry, man. Right. They got. I mean, McClendon again. You'd like to have him, but I mean, what? I don't get it, man. Why would Derek McClendon, who'd been here for years, had worked himself into the rotation, lives in Tallahassee, Florida, now want to go to Boulder, Colorado to play for a team that won 1 game? That didn't work out the way he intended.
All right, so listen.
It didn't work out the way he intended.
It didn't work out the way he intended. That is correct. You've got to stop trying to apply rational thought and logic to any of this. Emotion does play a part of it. There are a lot of other factors. Again, you're dealing with kids oftentimes, or at least very young adults, 19, 20 years old. We all didn't make great decisions back then. Sometimes you think you have something that you don't. And, I think that's the case with certain players. Not everyone, but certain players.
And I think you're 100% right. Emotions do play a part of it. And I just relating it to my own life. I had a job when I was in my mid-20s. I was older than these guys. My mid-20s, had a job on the internet, my first online job. And there was like a bunch of us. You
were on the World Wide Web before everybody else?
1996.
Like dial tone.
1996.
Dial tone to get in.
It's sportsline.com. And man, most people were dialing up.
Yeah.
But we had a desk. Basically, they had a news desk of like 20. They hired 25 copy editor desk people from newspapers around the country, and I was one of them.
Mm-hmm.
And like 3 or 4 of us were picked to be like closers at night. Like we were in charge at night. So we supervised everybody else. And it was like me and another guy, a buddy of mine, were kind of like jockeying to see who was like the golden child. Like we were both. And the day of the Super Bowl that year, I was the NFL editor. So I was going to be running our NFL arena and the homepage for the Super Bowl. And that morning, they told me that they wanted Brian to run.
Oh, I can see where this is going.
That page instead of me.
Oh,
effing Brian.
And what they said was, well, it's because we want you to do this, this, and this, and like Brian's going to do that.
They wanted the expertise of Ira applied elsewhere.
That's how they tried to sell it.
But you didn't buy that.
That's not what I was hearing.
You thought you were getting the shaft.
So 2 months later, I went back to Thomasville.
There you go.
I showed them.
Yeah. But fast forward, when you made the decision, were you thinking? How long did it take you to think, boy, that was a mistake?
Well, so
I shouldn't have done that.
So when I handed my notice, like I handed my typed up little resignation letter, I was so proud of myself.
Yeah.
And the editor was like, really broken up. He's like, is there something we can do? He was like trying to.
No, you already gave me the shaft.
And that's what I said. And so basically, I would go back to Thomasville, and then Sportsline went public, and the price of the stock went to like $70 or $80 a share.
Oh boy.
And I'm sitting in Thomasville, and I had given up all my shares for our IPO.
All because your ego took a shot.
All because of Brian.
I feel like I can relate to DMAC.
So
I feel like I might be able to relate
to
what he might be thinking, especially in November
But
when he's playing in the snow.
what was the shaft he got?
They brought
in Gil Redman.
the exact
and-
same defensive end
but
from.
he was still fourth. I mean, he was still going to be in the rotation.
But here's where dealing with NIL is a problem. If they go and bring in my clone, 6'4", 253, and then they pay him to come here, and I'm not,
or at least you believe
we believe that those
paying-
guys were paid to come here, not induced, of course.
Sure,
Once they
sure.
made the decision to come to Florida
Then you
State,
see
they
what you
saw
can
the
do. Yeah.
opportunities, and yet you're already here. You've put in the work, and you say, "Man, what are we doing here? What is all this?" Perhaps at that point, you do take a bit of a blow to the ego and decide, "No, man, F that. I've put in my time. I'm going to go somewhere else." Now, here's the other problem.
Colorado.
No, but that's not what he said.
I know.
That's where he ended up. So that is the problem, is that, okay, in the moment, you can look at a guy across from you and say he's the same player or not even as good as me. This is anybody, not just McClendon. And you can say, well, the battle's in, or whomever is paying that guy. They're not paying me. I'm not getting anything. I've been here. I started games for this team. And then you go to them and say, I'd like something similar, and maybe they don't see the value that you see in yourself. And so now you're going to say, all right, I'm out. But what I don't like for these kids is that there's, just like before all this system was in place, you've got people who disseminate misinformation, outright lies, bad actors.
Yeah.
And they tell you, hey, you know what? You don't have to put up with that, man. You're right. That's wrong. They just went out and got basically you, and they're paying him, and they're not paying you. I'll tell you what, Ole Miss will give you $200,000. Miami's going to give you $300,000. Georgia Tech will give you $250,000, whomever, right? So you want to believe that's true.
And the pitch is that well, you have these street agents that if they get the deal organized, they get a percentage of it.
Yeah.
So they have a vested interest. But if it doesn't work out,
you end up at Colorado. That's what happens. That's how it goes down.
And the Pittman one is even more bizarre, just because of, he's coming off a hip surgery. I mean, he's not a real appealing wide receiver portal candidate, I wouldn't think.
He is almost a definition of what NIL should be, name, image, likeness. He is huge on the internet.
Sure.
That's his really, I don't want to say his only value, but coming off of an injury, it's really the only value right now that's a sure thing. Like, those viewers aren't going anywhere, right? They're staying with him. He's got a following.
I don't know. You think Florida State fans are going to watch Micah Pittman's blog?
No Florida State fan is, but what I'm saying is he's got people outside of Florida.
Yeah,
State
he had a big audience before they came here because he had the channel with his girlfriend. And so, I mean, he's an influencer.
He's an influencer. And so you go to a place, let's say like Utah, where nobody's watching Utah football. Good program, great coach. I don't know. Maybe it's worth more to a booster, to somebody to shed a light on Utah. I don't know. But you have different reasons for every kid, and there are some bad actors out there. I hate it. And until you can get it all figured out, this is the kind of stuff that's going to happen. And sometimes kids should just go. Like, if they have better opportunities or more playing time somewhere else, we kind of applaud that. None of us have a problem with that.
Yeah, I mean, a perfect example, I think, is Cooper. I mean, if Duke Cooper gets to go play corner and gets to start at Colorado, then maybe it's a better situation for him. He wasn't going to start here at corner.
Right.
And, he didn't want to play safety. So
I think that those kids, certainly they'll get an opportunity to go and play. There's a conversation about what all of that is at Colorado in terms of what's offered and what's available, but playing time being the main thing. And they will immediately upgrade a very, very bad and somewhat empty Colorado locker room.
It's not even improving; it's just creating.
Yeah,
I think that what they don't realize, perhaps, is that it's gonna be a long year.
Oh, they're gonna suck.
I mean, they're gonna be horrible.
Right.
It's also going to be interesting. I don't think Deion's quarterback, his son, is a great quarterback.
No, he's not.
But he's always going to be the quarterback.
Well, imagine that.
So what is that going to do for the dynamic of that locker room? Because that kid's not going to get benched if he struggles in the Pac-12.
Yeah, and for people listening to us, none of us hate Deion or Shedeur Sanders. I don't hate Deion.
I don't. I grew up. I had his posters on my wall.
But what I would say about
hate's a strong word.
The verdict's out on the quarterback on his son, because at Jackson State he literally never had any pressure. I mean, it would be like standing back. I mean, there was never. I mean, he just had a clean pocket almost all the time, and he's a solid player, he's a decent player. But I don't know. Again, throwing against Power 5 DBs with a Power 5 pass rush with an inferior team, it's going to be a little different than what it was.
He's better hope they have some semblance of an offensive line coming in that portal. I mean, because they couldn't block anybody a year ago. And I don't care if you're an elite quarterback or a sorry one or anybody in between, you got zero chance with that group. If you can't run the ball, you're one-dimensional, and you can't block it up, it's going to be a long day for the fine folks in Colorado. But
it's a better team than they had last year.
It does not. Well, we'll see.
I mean, it can't be worse, can it? I mean,
they could win 0 games. They won 1 last year. We'll see. I mean, they got to get to 2 wins.
Yeah, they got to get to 2.
They got to get to 2. They could get to 2.
I think they'll get there.
I did look at the schedule. There's maybe 2.
Well, the problem is he is going to upgrade the talent, but it's none of these guys have gone through spring football. I mean, like literally, they'll be starting with a whole new team, and it'll be a great reality show because that's what it is.
Well, that's the pitch. That's the whole thing. All right. Luckily, that's not our situation here. This is a preseason top 15 team, top 10 team. This is one with a ton of expectations.
Keeping Farmer's a big deal. Like that was a really big deal because obviously that was quite dicey. I'm not sure what all happened there, but it's good that he's back in the fold. You got everybody you needed to come back. I don't think you can upgrade at defensive end. I think wide receiver and safety, there are people out there that are going to make you a better football team that you'll land in the next couple of weeks.
I think that's very possible. We don't know about defensive end because it's always possible that somebody, a grad transfer, could
I'm just looking. I talked about on Wake Up Warchant. The pickings are pretty slim at defensive end on the market right now. As you look, like Sean Bray Jackson is the 9th ranked defensive end in the country right now in the portal. So that tells you kind of what you're working with. Yeah, go back and get Sean Bray. top 10 portal get.
Well, so this gets back to the discussion about just because somebody's ranked high within the portal doesn't mean they're a good player.
Correct.
So
in December it does because it's a flood of people in December. I think
usually
right now
there's more.
It's still relative. I mean, because that's the point. I mean, it is like it's a little inflated.
Sure.
I mean, to say Fentrell Cypress is the number 2 corner in the country, that's
number 2 available.
Of the available corner.
Available corner.
But yeah, as far as I mean, I think if you're a defensive end out there and you're on a average to below average football
team,
team,
the pitch right here. Make the pitch.
Florida State would be attractive.
Yes.
Because
How could it not be? Ira, tell us why.
You could be in that 2 deep right away. You'd be in the main rotation on a team that's going to start off top 5 or top 10.
You're going to be playing on national
TV, the season opener against LSU.
Got a chance to win a conference title and go to the college football playoff.
So, that's an easy sell. Yep. They just need some fish to jump in the pond.
So, and I think they will. I think that'll happen. And I think they're in a much better position in that sense. They didn't have to be desperate. I would watch on the chat every day where people say, what are we doing? Why aren't we going out there? Why aren't we going out there? Not all the people in the portal are fits. And you got, if you don't see a guy, you don't just take a guy to take a guy just because it's a position of need. You
might at safety.
No, I don't think so.
I mean, you got
I know they're thin. They're thin there. But
or you move someone.
I think, they're making an effort on a safety, we know. And I think there'll be another one that comes out that they'll have an opportunity to get as well. Seminole Headlines, 93.3 Real Talk Radio, Warchant TV continues in just a moment.
Someone who thought texting was a better idea than stopping for a traffic light slams into your rear bumper. Now your back is injured and you've got to be at work and rehab all without a car. I'm Dana Brooks of Basic Brooks Law Offices, and we hear stories like this every day. You shouldn't pay for someone else's mistake. Call us at 850-777-7777 and we'll make sure you come back stronger.
Hey folks, it's me, Mac and More, spokesperson for Tallahassee's favorite Apple and Mac product store, Mac and More. We all know what Mac is all about. It's your MacBooks, iMacs, Apple Watch, iPhones, iPads, we've all got them. But what's really cool is the and more. And there's a lot more at Mac and More. They can help set up your new gear, migrate and back up your data, teach you new tricks and how to use everything better. And if something costs too much to fix, they'll tell you the truth. There's a lot more at Mac and More. See for yourself at macandmoresystems.com. Or you can take it from me, Mr. Mac and More.
Hi, this is Jamie McClenny from Trek Financial in Tallahassee. Managing downside risk in your portfolio is one of the biggest challenges that you'll face in retirement. Trillions of dollars in stimulus from the Federal Reserve and D.C. politicians, combined with zero interest rates, have propped up financial markets since the financial crisis ended in 2009. The Fed recently ended quantitative easing and has started to raise interest rates at a time when the global economy was already slowing. Have you considered what another 50% correction in the stock market would do to your retirement plan? If you're concerned about where this all might be headed and would like to find out about the potential benefits of an active risk management strategy for your portfolio, give me a call at 850-900-5200 and schedule a time for a review of your portfolio from an active risk management perspective.
Make Jamie your first call for a second opinion. Investment advisory services are offered through Trek Financial, LLC, an SEC-registered investment advisor.
My man, Eddie.
Jeff, what's happening, dude?
Bears eating people all over the place. I read another article today. It's the third one in the last month of somebody getting mauled to death by a bear.
Man, bears have their own space.
Well,
you got to let them have that.
You do. You got to stay clear of bears, is what you're saying?
Yes.
I got a question for you. Here you go. If you had to be mauled to death, eaten alive by any animal in the world, which would you choose to eat you alive?
Ooh, I think maybe I'd want, I don't know, longevity time, a mouse.
Just a slow burn.
Slow little burn.
This thing just finished the pinky. It's been a month.
I could go to work. I could still do my thing. I could probably live 30 years.
I thought you were going to say great white because it'd be quick, or a grizzly. We went with mouse.
Yeah, mouse.
Okay. Mouse it is. Gordo's bringing the flavor and flair of Cuban food to Tallahassee since 1996.
Barry knows cool. He's keeping you comfortable. Barry knows cool. You can put him to the test.
This is Tyler from Bear No Heating and Air. Now you can schedule an appointment or pay your bill from your mobile device. Any day, anytime, anywhere.
Save big time in the new year and get $1,200 off select new units.
Online at BearNoAC.com.
Keeping you comfortable is what Barry does best.
Florida license CAC 1816-186.
My man, Eddie.
Jeff, what's happening, dude?
Bears eating people all over the place. I read another article today. It's the third one in the last month of somebody getting mauled to death by a bear.
Man, bears have their own space.
Well,
you got to let them have that.
You do. You got to stay clear of bears, is what you're saying?
Yes.
I got a question for you. Here you go. If you had to be mauled to death, eaten alive by any animal in the world, which would you choose to eat you alive?
Ooh, I think maybe I'd want, I don't know, longevity time, a mouse.
Just a slow burn.
Slow little burn.
This thing just finished the pinky. It's been a month.
I could go to work. I could still do my thing. I could probably live 30 years.
I thought you were going to say great white because it'd be quick, or a grizzly. We went with mouse.
Yeah, mouse.
Okay. Mouse it is. Gordo's bringing the flavor and flair of Cuban food to Tallahassee since 1996.
Life is stressful. Dinner shouldn't be. That motto is why Register Sausage has been doing business in the Florida Panhandle and Lower Alabama for over 75 years. A proud sponsor of Seminole Headlines, Register Sausage always provides the best Southern smoked sausage to over 140 grocery stores and restaurants throughout the Southeast. Headliners have discovered the Register's difference. You can too. To find a store that carries Registers near you or to buy directly, head to registermeats.com. That's registermeats.com. Register Sausage. Yay, sausage!
Seminole Headlines returns now. Head to YouTube and search for Warchant TV today to catch the show live or on demand. Now, here's Jeff Cameron, Ira Schofel, and Corey Clark.
Major League Baseball is finally back in full swing, and MyBookie is going to be your one-stop shop for all your betting needs. Wide range of betting options, including money lines, run lines, totals, and futures. MyBookie gives you plenty of ways to bet on your favorite teams and players. You can also take advantage of a brand new MyBookie money bag, which gives you the chance to secure a bet on your favorite team or player at insanely boosted odds. Sign up today at MyBookie. Use promo code WARCHANT to secure a first deposit bonus of up to $1,000. It's simple. Deposit $200 and play with $300 instantly. Just use promo code WARCHANT to claim your bonus. So if you're a baseball fan looking to add even more excitement to the season, look no further than MyBookie. Sign up now. Get ready to experience the thrill of baseball betting like never before. Bet anything, anytime, anywhere with MyBookie. Battle of two first-place teams down in St. Petersburg tonight between the Pirates and the Rays. Two best records in baseball squaring off tonight down there in St. Petersburg.
And the Orioles?
Pirates and the Rays.
We got the Orioles and the Braves
The
this
Orioles
weekend.
and Braves are
How
this
about
weekend.
what a weekend?
Yeah.
Here we go. What a week.
Corey's got me coming up there. We're going to go watch.
Yeah, figured as much. Right?
11:30 a.m. start time. You ever
Why?
heard of that?
Why?
Yeah. Apparently, TBS started airing games at 11:30 in the morning on Sundays.
Not what you do.
I'm not a fan of it.
No.
11:30 a.m. is nuts.
You
But
been up
anyway,
there-
I guess I'll be there.
You been up there, Ira, to the
I
Battery?
have not been there.
You'll
No.
like it. They've done a
cool
good
place,
job with
yeah.
it. Yeah, it is a cool place. I got to give them credit. They've done well.
I didn't have anything against the old stadium.
I didn't either. They've had 6 since I was alive, so they go through
Yeah.
them every 5
This
years
was a
or
lot
so.
better environment.
You
than,
didn't like the old Fulton County back in the day?
any of them. There was nothing to do.
I
They
like
just
Fulton
had
County.
parking lots around the stadium. This, they actually created a
Yeah,
little
whole
mini
thing.
town
Yeah.
where you can go and do stuff before the game or after the game.
They did, and it's nice. I had a good time there last year. Went to see the Pirates play the Braves last year.
Yeah, when the Braves get their ass kicked, though, you're going to want us just to go home.
I
You're not
can't
going
wait
to want
to
to hang
see
out.
both of you guys are going to be coming to me for playoff tickets. World Series tickets and NLDS or
yeah,
NLCS.
we could be going for our right to play the Orioles in a famed rematch
right
of World Series of yesteryear.
4 years
71,
later.
79. Here we go again. 2023.
44.
What'd I say? 54? Whatever.
34.
It's like throwing it around. It's been a long time.
It's been too long.
I'm 51. I was 8 when the Pirates won the World Series over the Orioles in 1979.
I was how old were you the last time the Orioles won the World Series?
12.
I was 45 when the Braves last won the World Series.
You were? Yeah.
So
How about that?
Hey,
it feels
yeah.
good.
Go F yourself. How about that?
I'm just saying,
How's
it
that
feels
feel?
good. You guys are going to love that feeling.
Yeah, it's okay. Hang in there. Just got to keep on believing, Ira. I want a Pirates Rays World Series or a Pirates Orioles World Series. Would be amazing. Pirates aren't going to the World Series. I'm not delusional.
Yeah.
I also
just
think
enjoying
month,
this
though. It's cool
snapshot.
to see a good month.
Yeah.
I think watching the Orioles in person, you may switch. You may just, you know
I
what?
watched
You may
them in
just
person
decide.
last year.
You may just
in
decide.
Chicago.
But
No.
this is even a better team than
No,
that
I
team.
still be a Braves fan, but I
Most
hey,
fun
I root,
team in Major League Baseball.
I root for both of your teams when they're playing.
So this is what happens amongst baseball folk for the most part. I think the lone exception is that if you're not a Yankees fan, you never root for the Yankees.
Well, I'm like that with the Red Sox too.
So I know you've got some weird thing, but yeah.
By the way, how awesome was it
with
that
Boston losing?
the Bruins losing, all-time collapse.
Yeah.
I don't know if it is a collapse, right? They're up 3-1 and they had the best record in the history of the league.
First of all, it is a complete collapse.
Yeah.
They blew a 3-1 lead to a team that got into the playoffs on the second to last day.
Would you classify that as a failure?
Yeah.
I think you would. I think you would. And then the Celtics losing to the Sixers without Joel Embiid. That's a pretty awesome 24-hour snapshot for Boston fans.
Old fat ass turned about the clock last night with 45.
He did,
didn't he?
man.
Yeah.
Good for him.
Oh, well, I hate Harden. There's nothing to like about James Harden, but he did turn it back last night with 45. So it was something. I've enjoyed the NBA playoffs. I know our fine listeners don't want me to expound upon that, but it has been enjoyable.
Yeah.
Whoever writes the My Bookie promos, they do a pretty good job. I think those are, and obviously your reading of them takes it to a higher level.
Well, what they do is they trust the the orator, the narrator, to really bring it to life. To bring it to life.
But like
here
that,
you go.
whatever that money bag thing is, that sounds like
you want to do it.
It gets my.
I've convinced you to do it.
Yeah,
Maybe they should pay me more on these reads. I've convinced you to.
Joe
add a
Long
little-
asked a good question. He goes, Corey, how old were you when you actually watched the Braves win a World Series?
Ooh,
it's a great call, Joe. I did watch a
nice.
few of the games. I did not watch the clinching game. I've watched it since a bunch. And I was there in game 5 when they hit a grand slam in the first inning to take a 4-0 lead. And I thought, here we go. I'm going to watch them celebrate. I'm going to get to watch them celebrate. And then Tucker Davidson came and it collapsed. And they had to win.
And it scarred you in such a way that you wouldn't turn your eyes back to the Braves again.
I literally, that's the last time I got that drunk. And I don't know if I've told this story or not, but there are 30 or 40 people that were in that stadium that day that will never forget the drunk bald guy screaming F Tucker Davidson. That's where I was.
But you weren't that guy.
Yes, I was.
You were that guy.
I was that guy. I was on the shuttle bus back to the parking lot saying, Snitker, don't pitch Minter or Fried, Tucker effing Davidson. And my friends had to be like, Corey, just shut up, man.
Corey, we're in public.
Yeah,
people can hear you and see you. You're that guy.
I spent a lot of money on those tickets, hoping to see a win.
Wow.
You see a grand slam in the first inning. You're like, this is going to be fun. And then Tucker Davidson and the rest of the pitching staff blows it. And then
you were belligerent.
I'm not even mad about you being that guy as much as I am mad at nobody for getting video of you being that guy.
They might have gotten it. I might have gotten it.
I would like to see that at some point.
And I passed out on my couch with the door open. It was a rough night, man.
It's such a good thing, man. We were in our 20s before iPhones.
Oh, thank goodness.
I mean, could you imagine?
I don't get it's interesting, Corey, that you were affected that way because you're not normally that way, period. I would argue.
I think it's because
hold on. I want to float this theory out.
Okay.
I think the only team you are truly a fan of is the Atlanta Braves.
Yeah,
Say it. It's true. That's a true thing. Yeah, you are
like a hardy
that
fan.
is it.
Yes.
Yeah, that's the only one. That's why.
Yeah.
Your 8-year-old self was responding to a heartbreaking defeat.
Well, and I don't know if you guys know this, but as an Atlanta fan, you see some heartbreak over the years, and you're like, you have a 3-1 lead.
Yeah, man,
you're at home.
Yeah, winning the division 27 straight years. It's just brutal.
You know what it is? I've always compared it to Florida State fans. In the 90s, you had some obviously incredible teams and incredible moments and incredible wins. But man, those losses stick with you.
They stick. Wide rights still bother me, and there have been moments. The 2002 game still bothers me against
Jim
the
Lehrer
Canes.
still sticks with me. It just does. The Dodgers in 2020 just stuck with me, and then I'm like, man, they're going to blow this again. I spent all this money to take my friends down to this celebration.
It's not about the money. You don't care about the money. It's about your emotions.
And
You couldn't handle it.
He's mentioned money 3 times.
I know, but
it might be about the money.
It's not about the money. He's trying to hide behind the money.
But so anyway, anytime Tucker Davidson's name's mentioned, my friends give me grief. And when he got his championship ring in the parade, they all sent me pictures of him getting his championship ring.
I would send you his card signed.
But there was a kid that I had to. So we got standing room only tickets for that game because everything else was sold out. And what I didn't realize, standing room only tickets sound great. Like everybody's sitting, you're standing in the concourse, you can watch the game. Well, everybody stood up for the whole game, every pitch.
Yeah.
So
because it meant something, Corey.
Well, right. But it's like, standing room only does us no good because I can't see. So I asked the kid, there was a 17-year-old kid with his dad. I'm like, hey, man, can I stand on your seat while you're standing up behind you? I promise I'm not going to breathe on you.
Fondle you,
give you a massage.
Nothing
None of that. He's like,
that.
yeah, sure. And I told the dad, I'm like, man, I'm going to Venmo you $100. This is awesome. And as soon as I stood up on that seat, Duvall hit the grand slam. And I'm like, buddy, I'm not leaving. I'm here.
You're stuck with me for the rest of the night.
And essentially, I dry humped that kid for 7 innings, screaming F Tucker Davidson. And I felt really bad about his World Series.
Did you send his dad $100
No, he
for
wouldn't
that?
take it.
At least you got your money's worth. I mean,
so covering the Florida State LSU series in Baton Rouge and watching Florida State go to the College World Series by beating a storied program like LSU
with a
team, rather improbable group, is what I called them. That, too, was standing room only if you were anywhere between third base and first base or behind home plate. You had no chance. It was crazy the whole time, but it's a lot of fun. I have that on film, too.
Have you ever had your team lose, but for like a tinge feel good for the other team?
No.
In any situation?
Yeah.
That's so condescending.
I don't think that I have. I
was thinking about this today. If the Mets and Braves met in the NLDS and the Mets beat the Braves, for half a second, I was like, man, that would be cool for Tom Lang. And then I'm like, that's so condescending, number one. And I also don't think I believe it.
You're not sitting next to Tom going, good for you.
Good for you, little guy. You got to see a playoff win.
Come on, you're not doing
now,
that.
If the Mets won the World Series, I'd feel good for them, but not if they beat the Braves to get there. You know what I mean?
But then if they got to there, you would root for them over an American League team, wouldn't you?
I don't know, because I hold it against teams that beat my team, and I want them to feel pain.
I think that's the natural inclination, and that's the child in all of us for sure. But I'm wondering, can you get to a point?
Yes, you can.
Okay.
Yes, because I don't care about the Braves, and when they won the World Series, I was happy for Corey, happy for my buddy. I have like 5 different buddies I've known over the years that
but the Pirates weren't in contention.
Let me ask you this.
It doesn't matter. I mean, I used to hate the Braves.
And I was going to say, in 92, when they lost to the Blue Jays, were you unhappy?
But I didn't care about Toronto.
I know, but you were happy that the Braves lost.
I'm sure in 92 because I was 21 years old.
But the Blue Jays were not a hateable team, really.
No, Joe Carter.
Everybody likes Joe Carter.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know, man. I didn't.
So if Florida State loses to LSU in September,
LSU
goes to win the national
friends.
championship.
No.
Okay, I didn't think so.
No, but I don't sit around. No. So you're talking about holding hatred to the team that knocks your team out. And I think most fans do that when they're caught up in the emotion. But if you have friends that have been lifelong, loyal, good fans of a team. So, for example, you just said you're happy when the Pirates win. When you see the Pirates win, you're like, good for Jeff. Because the Pirates suck.
Forever.
They're whatever, right? Yeah. They've been bad for a long, long time. All right, so you're happy for me. Well, if the Pirates somehow take this magic all the way through the National League and get to the World Series, you're going to be pissed if they knock the Braves off along the way and decide you're no longer happy for me?
No, you're right.
Let me ask you.
It depends on how your fans act when you win. Are you doing a mocking chop? Are you like they all do every time somebody beats the Braves or Florida State? Or are they doing that? Then I'll be like,
let me ask you this. All right. So when we sat there in the press box at Doak Campbell Stadium and watched those Jacksonville State kids celebrate for 20 minutes
at least
on the field.
Yeah, one kid just left. I was over there a couple minutes ago.
Yeah. Wasn't there a little bit of you that was like, you know what, man, good for those guys. Don't remember that the rest of their lives.
Man, I was like, what are we going to do for our job? Like, what is our job now?
Didn't Jacksonville State turn around and get their ass beat by
somebody? Coach got fired.
Coach got fired a month later.
Yeah, no, I wasn't happy for that. I'm like, at least go on and do something with it, you losers.
I'm not happy for them, but I was just like, you know what? This is like these kids are going to tell their grandkids grandkids about the day they beat Florida State in Doak Campbell Stadium.
I don't care. It was lucky, and we were in a state of disarray, and
if
it was coaching blunders everywhere.
If Mackenzie Milton had beaten Notre Dame, do you think any Notre Dame fans would have been, you know what, that's a cool story. Mackenzie Milton, that's a cool story.
Maybe.
But
I mean, the man
losing to Jacksonville State isn't the same thing as losing to Mackenzie Milton. Like, that's an all-time. That was the rock bottom of the
Mackenzie
program.
wouldn't have played for Jacksonville State.
Well, he would not have.
I'm trying to think. There aren't too many situations, you're right, where I've ever, it's especially right after the game,
I'll be honest,
felt good for the other team.
the second wide right, I felt good for those Miami kids. With the Ibis celebrating with them, or when the kid
wide left with the kid was taunting Bethia.
Well, they're so likable.
Yeah.
They've been loyal for so long.
Those fans
Rabid
deserve it.
fans.
Yeah,
They
man.
care so deeply about their Canes. You
Good
know,
for those Canes.
Yeah.
Finally went to that big game.
Good for them. My goodness. And they handled it with such dignity.
They always did.
They always shook your hand.
Yeah,
Said, great game.
Great game.
It's nothing without you being in the rivalry.
Yeah.
We appreciate this so much.
Since you guys are going to break laws and Pell Grants and all this fraud
Yeah.
and all this, like, at least you're rewarded with wins. That's good. Good for you.
Seminole Headlines 93.3 Real Talk Radio. Warchant TV continues in a moment.
Your local news now.
A call about a hit-and-run crash came in just after 5:30 p.m. yesterday. A passerby witnessed a man leaving the scene of the crash and said he might have seen what was a gun in the suspect's waistband. Multiple law enforcement agencies were searching for the man, including canine units. The search was happening near the intersection of Old Bainbridge Road and Orchard Pond Parkway. The person they are looking for is described as an approximately 60-year-old white man. He weighs approximately 240 pounds and is about 6 feet tall. He was wearing shorts and a gray shirt. If you see someone matching that description, contact 911. The Leon County Commission will bring lights to school bus stops in rural and unincorporated parts of the county. Last week, the commission decided to allocate $25,000 to installing street lights at Leon County schools, bus stops, and rural communities. The commission agreed to pull a fifth of its annual funds for street lights to support the installations. This is Rachel and
Oh, God,
I mean, he
this looks
looked
like a guy you'd like to
like a
beat the
Greek
hell out
god.
of.
Stoic.
And just to hear him talk is annoying, even today. But I went years and years later, I looked back and was like, man, they were something. That was fun to watch. Like, I'm glad I got to see them pitch. I'm glad I got to see that staff, just especially Maddox.
Imagine getting to fill out that lineup card every day.
Oh, yeah, that's a toughie.
Well, they never
the genius that was Bobby
They
Cox.
never had a
rolling that out
closer,
there.
man. I would have given up one of those starters for Mariano Rivera.
But-
They'd have 2 more World Series titles.
But I mean, yeah, like I can do that. I can go get years removed and no longer feel the pain of Sid Bream's moment or Otis making that catch and all those moments. But I look back now, I'm like, I'm glad I saw that. I'm glad I was around. As a fan of baseball, I got to watch a really good pitching staff, an all-time great pitching staff. Win a whole lot of division titles.
That's right. And one World Series. One. Got that one. Got that one. Thanks to Marquise Grissom. Good old Marquise. So
I mean, just like Ira probably has great appreciation for Willie Stargell and Dave Parker and Bill Garner, and Omar Marino, Bill Madlock, Rennie Stennett.
Matlock or Madlock? Madlock, right?
Yeah, Bill
Mad Dog. No, I hated all of them. The song brings out a visceral reaction to me.
We Are Family.
When
One
that
of the great
comes on,
songs
when
of
that
all time.
song comes on, like my blood pressure
You
rises.
didn't even like Tim Foley.
When do you hear that song?
Yeah, it comes on. It's still
when
a
you're
big
at the
song.
disco? Well, he goes to the disco on
Skating
Friday
rink.
and Saturday night.
Skating
You're
rink.
at the skating
You didn't
rink,
like the Cobra? Come on, baby. What about
You're trying to get me to curse.
Mike Easler? You didn't like any of these guys?
You're trying to get me to curse.
Dale Barra?
All right, enough. Back to Florida State
Dale.
football.
You had to like that.
What do y'all think the over/under is on draft picks next year?
Okay, so this is good. We were talking about this yesterday. that
Somebody's got to drive this show.
Watching, Jamie go in the 5th round.
And he's the only one.
He's the only one.
Hey, but good looking out, Jamie. The streak would have ended if you didn't go out.
Yeah, the streak's still alive.
All these people are like, oh, you should have stayed in school. It's like, okay, well, the streak would have ended.
Yeah.
No, and he wasn't going to better his stock.
No, he was what he
went where
was.
supposed to go.
He's been pretty. It's not like he hadn't produced at this level.
No, and the thing he was always going to have against him is the very reason he fell to the 5th. He's an incredibly productive football player who's undersized and slow.
We'll get right back to that. Daniel Cronin asked in the chat, I think you might have asked it yesterday on your show, and I don't think you guys really finally answered the question. We can talk about it now. Duke Cooper's injury when he got rolled up on. They want to know what, because we never talked about
before
it.
you answer, I took a cursory glance at this and said, I don't know. I do remember him coming up lame, limping with an ankle, but I don't remember that I knew it was profound at the time. Did you?
We didn't know it was profound at the time.
So they do these one-on-one
But it
drills.
was just a weird thing that if you weren't watching,
we were all out there at the time. I remember
it was after the play, though.
They do one-on-one drills. He was covering someone that ran a deep route. He knocked it down because he was playing pretty well at that time. And as he's walking back, and they do these one-on-one drills from the end zone, like the 5-yard line. So he's walking back to get back into the huddle with all the other defensive guys on the sideline.
Out of bounds,
like 3 yards out of bounds. The next route is, I guess, a corner route or just an out, and it's overthrown. The receiver falls down, rolls up into him, and he goes down and rides in
It's just
pain.
a fluke play.
It's just really fluky, but also like have your head on a swivel, man. You're on a football field, and also it's just bad luck too. Like that happens a good bit, but that happened that the receiver fell down. I think it might have been the DB. I don't know, but rolled into him that did something to his.
And he walked off. I mean, it wasn't like a debilitating
I know. I saw
injury.
it. I remember it because we pointed it out. We were like, "Oh, that kind of sucks. Hopefully, he's okay." But I don't think.
I threw my hands up. Like, of course that just happened. Your best DB on your team just got rolled up on.
But he had been playing at a high level before that.
Do you know that specifically that is the injury that led to the?
I don't.
Yeah.
And I don't just say that's the reason he struggled so much last year, because if it was, they wouldn't have moved him to safety this year. They'd have been saying, all right, well, he's back. He's healthy now. I think something was lost there with old Duke Cooper. But so going back to the draft, Jamie kept the streak going, but I wrote the column about it, and I know they won't have 17 guys drafted, but there are 17 or 18 names
guys that could,
that you would not be stunned. And I'm talking about, Shaheem Brown, if he has a good year and goes pro, Renardo Green, Casey Roddick, Jeremiah Byers, people like that. Like Byers, I think, is probably a definite to get drafted. But there are 17 guys that could possibly get drafted.
Yeah, and a lot of those guys have 2 more years of eligibility, so they may not all go this year. Like Byers, the guy that could go the next year. But, man, there's a ton of guys. If you had to set it over under
10, 9,
somewhere
8,
in that
8.5,
ballpark.
something like that.
Tom and I did it on the air. We were talking about it one day, and I said, let's just go through right now, guys, you think will get drafted. And then he said to me, this year? I'm like, okay, well, in fairness, we just think we'll get drafted in the next 2 years.
Off this team.
Yeah, off
this
team.
too deep.
Yeah, and if you just want to go segment group by segment group, you do. It gets weighty. You get up to 17, 18, 19 guys.
And do you agree with me that I don't know where Jordan Travis is going to get drafted, but I think it's between Bryce Young and Stetson Bennett. I mean, that's 127 picks, but I think it's in that window.
If he plays like he did last year, I think he could be a first-round pick, but definitely second round. I don't think he goes below second. If he plays like he did last year or better.
Yeah.
Because
because they don't hold it so much against them.
Yeah, he used to have. In fact, back in the day, he wouldn't have been drafted.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting. Yeah, I still say he's going to have a banner year to be a first round pick because he still has things going against him that are tough to overcome.
But if he just plays like he did to end last season, or just has the exact same season, I think he's between. Like I said, he's a draft pick.
Where did Stetson end up?
Fourth round.
128, fourth round.
Yeah,
I think he's somewhere in there. I think
that's fair.
He's in that window.
That's a fair window.
But I think he's going to have a better year than he did last year because he looks better. I thought he looked better this spring than any other time I've seen him, and they're so much better around him. I mean, they're markedly better talent-wise, I think, from where they were a year ago.
What about Toa Feely?
I think he gets drafted.
No,
here's the thing.
He's his skill set.
He's on the list of guys that could get drafted. Sure.
I think he may be a very good pro. I mean, the thing about him is, and Tom and I talked a little bit on the Smash last night, he really can run between the tackles.
Yeah, he did a much better job this past year than he had ever done. Like he had some tough yards for first down.
It's like that's not a liability. He can run between the tackles, and he's got elite speed, and he's become a really good receiver.
Well,
the
receiving
what would you not like about him?
Yeah, the receiving aspect of what he is the strength of who he is. I mean, that's what an NFL team would really be looking at. Because I don't think anybody's going to look at him and say he's a guy we want running between the tackles in the NFL.
Right. Yeah.
Now, he's got to get bigger and stronger still, but he catches everything. And he can, in a pinch, you can run in between the tackles.
And he can run. He's got legit NFL speed.
And then when you throw in Burst and Johnny and Trey,
well, Trey's a prototypical NFL running back.
So you've got guys on that. Jaheim. I mean, those are guys that are all going to get drafted, maybe rather highly. Some of them.
No fan 1893 in the chat says that Jordan's bigger and strong, heavier than Bryce Young. That's true. Bryce Young is pretty special.
Yeah, that arm talent isn't. He again, we all love Jordan Travis. But his arm isn't Bryce Young's arm. Bryce Young is just.
And when you say arm, you're not talking about arm strength. You're talking about talent.
Arm talent. Yeah. No, also
the whole ability in the pocket to somehow.
Bryce Young's as special as it gets, I think, in that area. Is a pass.
I mean, he's a 5'10" guy that doesn't run all that well or much, and he was just drafted number 1 overall, and nobody batted an eye on it. I mean,
if you're going to knock it, you're going to hold your breath every time he gets hit because he's tiny. And, it's the NFL. So if he doesn't continue to make people miss and have eyes in the back of his head, he's dead.
And the great thing about Jordan last year, which, we know will continue, is he stopped taking hits. He started sliding. He's much smarter.
Well, and I think the biggest thing is he proved he could throw from the pocket.
Yeah, he didn't get sacked.
That's the biggest thing.
They blocked it up for him,
proved that he could throw from the pocket, and he needed to do that, and then he surpassed any expectation we could have had. I thought it was amazing. It's a remarkable transformation.
And it, like, when you start talking about what this offense can be, it's hard to not sound like completely homerish. But
I think they're top 10 offense in the country for sure.
I mean, what would you do to scheme against
You've
them?
got problems. The balance is unbelievable. You've got 3 viable tight ends. You've got a deep offensive line. You got 5 running backs. You got an elite quarterback.
You got a unicorn at receiver.
You have a 6'7" receiver that, if he gets consistent catching the easy ones, he's really going to be unstoppable because he makes all the tough catches. You are lacking explosiveness at that position, receiver.
For now.
Yeah.
The portal's open.
Well,
baby.
I mean, we'll see what happens. I mean, if you're going to try to find a weakness, I don't think they have a ton of difference makers at receivers.
Depends on what, I get it depends on, I mean, your guy Span, if that
he
becomes
emerges,
a thing.
oh, goodness gracious. Yeah. Because that's an NFL receiver. Yeah, without question. He's a different looking dude. Oh, God help defenses if Span figures it out. Because he runs better than anybody on that team. Yeah. And he looks like an NFL receiver. He just doesn't do the things that an NFL receiver does yet. But if he gets that figured out, route running and consistently catching, forget about it. Yeah, scouts would drool over him. But you have the ability to really, you don't have to change personnel. You can stay on the field on a drive and you put defenses and you handcuff defenses because they got to keep guys out there they don't want out there for certain down distance leverages. And because you have the ability to be multiple with those guys. They can do so many things. So I do think the offense is going to be elite. I don't think there's any doubt. That's the one thing that I I don't spend a lot of time talking about it. I'm like, elite.
Well, it was elite last year, and it'll be better.
It'll be better.
But I think it's going to be elite against anybody they face. I think that there won't be a game. Maybe the LSU game we'll have to see because that's elite talent. I don't know. Do you think there'll be a game? How many games will they score less than 30 points?
Here's the only thing that concerns me.
Maybe 1 or 2. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
one possibly. And to me, the only thing that can really hold them back is them mentally. And we talked about it a little bit during the spring while we were at practice. There was a day during the spring where the offense wasn't really clicking and you could see the frustration like that. That's what if that happens, they can bog themselves down.
Mm-hmm.
If Jordan gets frustrated, receivers are not doing what they're supposed to do, dropping passes. And because I thought like the NC State game,
it's hard to fathom the NC State game now. That game was pathetic. He was bad. The offense was bad. Everything was terrible. Receivers were awful. And that's an outlier. It doesn't happen often. But man,
it's going to happen once.
That's what I'm saying.
Even that LSU 2019 team scored 17 against Auburn or whatever it was.
Yeah.
You're going to have a clunker. I'd say the FSU 13 team is the only one I remember in our lifetimes that really didn't have a clunker.
Offensively, yeah.
It did for a while against BC, and then it just
second half they just killed them. Yeah, I don't know, man. It's hard to find a game. The LSU game could be it. I mean, they do have legitimate NFL talent on the defense of that LSU team, but I don't. It's hard. It's not going to be Florida. It's not going to be Miami.
You wouldn't think.
Maybe a road pit game if it's in inclement weather. You have some issues. Maybe I can't find a game where it's easy to pick them to score less than 31 points.
So going back to where we started this, I just think with Norvell as a play caller, with the improved talent they have, with Jordan at the place he is now, I think he's got a chance to have a huge, huge year. And if he does, I don't know, man. He might be a first-round pick.
He might, but the one problem he might have is they may not need him to be great in a lot of games. They could just run over people.
That's what I was thinking, like the Syracuse game last year. I think he threw for, it was like 18 of 20 or whatever it was, but it's like 130 yards. Like he didn't have to do anything special. And I think that could be a lot of this season is him not having to do special. But if he puts up numbers and then has those moments like he had against Florida, had against Oklahoma, if he does that against LSU with everybody watching and against Clemson with everybody watching, well, then he's in the conversation for everything that he's in the conversation for.
Headliner questions forthcoming. Hang in there. We'll get to them in just a moment. Seminole Headlines, 93.3 Real Talk Radio. Warchant TV continues in a moment.
Java, brew, go-go beans, brain water, liquid lightning, wakey juice, whatever you call your cup of coffee, you're missing out if it's not Grassroots Coffee. At grassrootscoffee.com, you'll find an easy way to order the best roasted coffee beans available. It's very simple. Choose the blend you want and how you want it ground, and the bag you receive will have the date your beans were roasted and packaged on it, all written by hand and signed by the roast master himself. You'll know that's as fresh as it gets. You can get Grassroots outside of your house also at some of your favorite restaurants in town. Next time you're out to eat, try asking for Grassroots Coffee by name because there's a good chance they will have it for you. And if you own a business, Grassroots Coffee has options to stock your break rooms with all the productivity powder your team needs. Plus, like some other options that you'll find at work, Grassroots Coffee actually is a part of our community. Hit grassrootscoffee.com today and get yourself a treat. Some locally owned, locally roasted, and locally loved Grassroots Coffee.
There's fun to be had every night at the Corner Pocket. Take home prizes on Trivia Tuesdays and Beer Bingo Thursdays. And kickstart your weekend with Martini Fridays. Plus, happy hour runs every weekday and game day specials every time the Noles take the field. Watch all the best games at the Corner Pocket's Vegas wall, featuring 560 inches of flat screen TV heaven.
Oh, really?
The best food, the best drinks, and the best place to watch all the games. Tallahassee loves the Corner Pocket.
Discover the tastes of Peru at Café de Martín and El Bar, a one-of-a-kind culinary and cocktail concept created by classically trained chef Martín Araujo. Con amor y pasión, with love and passion, Café de Martín is a fine Peruvian dining experience in an approachable, comfortable, cultural-rich space built for creating memories to last a lifetime. Enjoy happy hour daily with a full bar, handcrafted cocktails, beers on draft and bottle, paired with a selection of Peruvian tapas like crispy fried yuca with house-made huancaína sauce, carefully selected charcuterie boards, a selection of fresh ceviches, and so much more. It's Café de Martín and El Bar. Escape to Peru, a country of great culture, beauty, and food right here in the capital city. Café de Martín and El Bar on Capitol Circle Northeast in the Esposito Shopping Center. Open daily for lunch, happy hour, and dinner. Online at cafedemartin.com.
Many orthodontists in Tallahassee can straighten a smile, but at Birch Orthodontics, they're dedicated to providing the finest care possible. The experienced and friendly staff is trained in all of the latest techniques. So whether you need standard treatment like braces or Invisalign, or you have a more complicated case requiring extra attention, Birch Orthodontics is here for you. Set up your free consultation today by visiting birchorthodontics.com, BURCH orthodontics.com, or call 850-877-1692. At Birch Orthodontics, they create beautiful smiles that last a lifetime.
Coming up next, more of the Jeff Cameron Show. Live and local on Real Talk 93.3. WVFT, Greta, Tallahassee. The latest betting odds and line movements from Vegas. This is your action update. Now here are your latest lines from our guys in the desert.
The two teams with the best record in baseball meeting today at Tropicana Field. The 23-6 Tampa Bay Rays, who were 14-2 at home. $1.15 favorite against 20-9 Pittsburgh, minus 105, 7.5 under the total at Tropicana Field. The Braves split a doubleheader yesterday with the New York Mets. They're a $1.13 underdog today at Miami, minus 123, 7.5 over the total at Lone Depot Park. Bryce Elder for the Braves against Sandy Alcantara on the Marlins. Rory McIlroy 7-1 to win the Wells Fargo Championship at Quail Hollow this week. Patrick Cantley 12-1. Sign up now for your free VSiN subscription at vsin.com/subscribe. For more sports betting news and information, go to vsin.com. Mike Son, Real Talk 93.3.
Give a little love. This week at Macy's, find great deals on a gift she'll love just in time for Mother's Day. Like fragrance gift sets from her favorite brands like Lancôme, Estée Lauder, Carolina Herrera, and more. Give her a new bag from Coach and Michael Kors, $250 and under. Plus, update your weekday wardrobe with wear-to-work separates, $150 and under. And get contact-free curbside pickup or pickup in store today at Macy's. Savings off sale and clearance prices. Exclusions apply.
Let's be real. Mopping is a hassle. You have to fill the bucket, pushing a wet, heavy mop around, then cleaning the mop when you're done so it doesn't grow bacteria. A hassle on top of a hassle. Try Swiffer Wet Jet. With Swiffer Wet Jet, you start with a fresh pad and cleaning solution every time. And when you're done, you just toss the pad. Swiffer Wet Jet, the faster, easier, cleaner way to clean your floors.
There's no doubt that buying a home can feel overwhelming, especially if it's your first home. You're worried about location, school zones, square footage, inspections, insurance, loan approvals, interest rates, and of course the price. Buying a home could be the most significant investment you've ever made. But there's good news. You have our friends at Legendary Home Loans, and they're on your side and in your corner. They're going to go to bat for you. Shannon Young from Legendary Home Loans can help first-time home buyers get up to $25,000 for your down payment. For first responders, veterans, teachers, military, and healthcare workers. And that's not all. Shannon is an expert navigator of the home loan terrain, and you can trust that he's going to get you the most competitive interest rates and guide you through the process every step of the way. Plus, Shannon will also get your closing costs reduced. It's the Hometown Heroes program at Legendary Home Loans. Give them a call today, 844-FSU-LOAN. That's 844-FSU-LOAN. Or go to FSUHomeLoans.com and ask for Shannon Young.
Someone who thought texting was a better idea than stopping for a traffic light slams into your rear bumper. Now your back is injured and you've got to be at work and rehab all without a car. I'm Jimmy Fasig at Fasig Brooks. We hear stories like this every day. You shouldn't pay for someone else's mistake. Call us at 850-777-7777 and we'll make sure you come back stronger.
Many orthodontists in Tallahassee can straighten a smile, but at Birch Orthodontics, they're dedicated to providing the finest care possible. The experienced and friendly staff is trained in all of the latest techniques. So whether you need standard treatment like braces or Invisalign, or you have a more complicated case requiring extra attention, Birch Orthodontics is here for you. Set up your free consultation today by visiting birchorthodontics.com, BURCH orthodontics.com, or call 850-877-1692. At Birch Orthodontics, they create beautiful smiles that last a lifetime.
It's time for Seminole Headlines, featuring Warchant.com's Jeff Cameron, managing editor Ira Schofel, and senior writer Corey Clark. Your weekly dose of all things FSU, pistols, and pies starts right now. Here's Jeff Cameron.
Hour number 2, headliner questions forthcoming. Hang in there. We'll get to them in just a second. As always, Corey and Ira here, and we're all celebrating our friend Dr. Birch as she celebrates those doing good in the community. Now, it's not just that they're the best of the best. I'm going to talk about your orthodontic needs, but also 20 years of kicking ass and now giving back. Tell them about it, Ira. How can folks be a part of this giving time?
Yeah, so Dr. Birch Orthodontics, their 20th anniversary, which is kind of hard to believe.
When is it?
This year.
I know, but is there
I
a
don't know if
specific
there's a
date?
specific date. I'm sure there is. I haven't asked. I should ask.
You should ask. Yeah. Save the date or something.
But yeah, as part of that celebration, Dr. Birch giving back to the community, which she always does, was one of the reasons we love being partners with Dr. Birch, because she's great with the community and great Noles as well. But if you go to Birch Orthodontics Facebook page, social media, Instagram, there'll be a QR code or their website, and or a QR code or a link where you can donate to these causes. And it's 5 local charities that she donated her office donated $20,000.
That's right.
To them, $4,000 each. She's also trying to raise another $20,000 from the community. And it's awesome. 5 local charities that are all doing great work. And she wants to help them out because that's how cool she is. And she also does great work. If you need any orthodontic help, you or your family, your kids, grandparents, great-grandparents, we've decided that she's not going to discriminate
babies
based on age.
Yeah,
babies,
pre-teeth. I don't know, but
I mean,
get
not a
get
lot
in
of
there
work
early.
there to be done.
But if you just want to bring them by just to be around Dr. Birch and that staff, you
sure
could do
she'll
that.
hug them. Yeah.
And the website, as I said, is birchorthodontics.com. And if you have never had orthodontic work or you have questions, set up a consultation. They'll talk to you. Incredibly patient and just great people. So check them out.
Where are the Three Amigos post-spring practice top 25 for the 2023 season? Also, no charge for the GOATs I sacrificed to Joe Boo so that no starters other than Pittman transferred. Appreciate that.
Yeah,
Good
that
work.
was nice.
Yeah.
And I don't even know that you call Pittman a starter coming off hip surgery.
Yeah.
So yeah, they actually did get. You got dicey there for even Josh Farmer wasn't a starter, but that was somebody you would have lamented. But yeah, overall they did well.
What's our top 25? Does that mean like our top 25 players or like top 25?
Well, we'll have the top 40 that we always do.
The original top 40.
Jeff says he's going to put Travis Jay on just for old time's sake.
You need to.
I have to.
Wait, like 31. He's a wild card.
Yeah, put him in there somewhere in the. Yeah, you're right. 31 to 40.
Yeah,
somewhere in there. You never know. I used to love penciling him in just to be wrong, just knowing that it wasn't going to happen. But
Oh, it turns out he's not eligible again this year.
No, it's unfortunate, Travis. All right, but we'll do that top 40 in due time. And the second part of the question was, no, we already had the second part of the question. We already addressed it. Just Pittman in terms of those that would have played a lot. Although I think Malik McLean would have played a lot and done really well had he stayed here. And I think we know that. We've already talked about the defensive end situation with McClendon. So, and there's a few that you're going to lament not having, none that you're devastated about at this juncture. Gentlemen, with players committing to schools immediately after announcing they are leaving their current one, sometimes with a visit, what would you do if you were the NCAA to try and prevent all of this obvious tampering in the portal? I mean, NCAA ain't doing a damn thing, Scott.
What can you do?
Like we talked about, I think we talked about last week, like it's on the coaches. Like the coaches, they've had these veiled comments last year. A couple coaches made Dave Clawson and made veiled comments about what was their players being approached and offered things.
Sure.
But never really want to go out and give a firm claim. And so until they do that, and like you said, I think part of the reason is they probably feel like they could be caught for the same thing.
But for the same thing, they also don't think that there's a branch of the NCAA that's going to do anything about it.
Right.
They feel
So
like
what
they're
would be the point?
impotent. What's the point? So I'm going to tell on everybody, even though I'm doing the same thing, because I think they're more egregious than I'm being. And there's nobody that can really enforce what it is I'm accusing them of. It's just, it's a tough situation right now.
Yeah.
It is crazy though that these kids will go in the portal and then be at a new school like within hours.
Oh yeah, just by chance, just a miracle.
Well, the internet works, guys. You see pictures of wherever. You don't have to go there anymore. You can see pictures and read up like on the temperatures, the annual temperatures.
Parker writes, just a fun question, but who are your all's favorite players in FSU history who maybe weren't amongst the elite? For example, Parker says, I really loved Kermit, and I love Tyler Holton on the baseball team. Those were Parker's.
Tyler
examples.
Holton or Tyler Holt?
Holton.
We like Tyler Holton too.
Yeah,
both of them.
Tyler Holton.
I like Tyler
Very
Holton
good.
too. Yeah.
He's a major leaguer last year. He pitched in the big.
Yeah, Holton did, yeah.
And Tyler Holt, I think, made the major.
He did make the major leagues, yeah. He was a defensive guy.
Yeah.
On the outfield. All right, let's go. Your favorite players that weren't stars here. Tiger McMillan is what I'll lead with. I'll start with Tiger McMillan.
That spin move he had, man. A spinny
I
dude.
love me some Tiger McMillan.
I love Derwin Kitchen, man. I love Derwin.
I
didn't
Derwin
love
too.
Derwin's internal clock.
No,
didn't love that.
Didn't have one. Didn't have an internal clock.
Yeah, it was broken.
Yeah.
He was a fun player. I just liked him. I like
Incredible
talking to him.
rebounding guard.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Tough kid.
Gritty,
and
gritty.
He was gritty.
Yeah.
And like a coach on the floor.
Yeah.
And except there at the very, very end of game.
When you needed him to inbound and,
Yeah.
and do things like that, yeah.
But yeah, Derwin's a really good answer, man, because he wasn't a star, but he was a solid player, really fun to talk to, good guy, like seemed like a
And a cool story.
Yeah,
All
really
the places
cool
he had
story.
been. Yeah.
and appreciated being able to play at Florida State.
Dude,
because of
Ham
his
got
journey.
really
He
emotional
did
when he
graduated.
when he graduated.
Yeah.
It was awesome.
And he's also a fun follow on Twitter. He's like, it's cool to see guys like him.
Is he still like Florida State centric?
Exactly.
Oh, that's awesome.
That's
yeah.
the stuff you love. Is like when those guys who are not like necessarily in the public eye necessarily anymore. He's played overseas for a long time. He's made money playing basketball.
Corey, I have a guess. You're going to say Blair McCaleb?
We do like Blair.
We do
love
like Blair. We
Blair
do like
listen,
Blair.
I said it to Doff the captain.
That's not the first name that came to mind. I don't know. JD Drew?
Oh, yeah. Nobody ever talks
Nobody
about
talks
old
about
JD.
him anymore.
Yeah. Underappreciated.
Or
Nobody
Steven,
does.
one of the Drew
Yeah.
brothers,
Yeah.
Jack Posey.
Peachy Bullette.
Oh, that's a good one. So we're just doing. I'm trying to think of a football player that, again, my go-to.
There's a lot of them.
There's too many. And it's almost dismissive to say somebody like Terrence Brooks because he played in the league for almost a decade.
Yeah, and he's really good and was really good. But he
Yeah.
was on a team full of really good players.
Yeah, he was like the fourth best
So I do that
defensive back.
sometimes with like Sterling Palmer.
Yeah.
Who I love.
Oh,
who
man.
was just a menace.
Yeah.
But
In
people
that
don't talk
dark
a lot
visor,
about,
yeah.
oh, he was
Sterling
evil.
Palmer, Dan Footman.
Oh,
Like, those guys were
evil.
scary.
Yeah. I mean, like legit scary.
A couple players like that for personal relationships though, like Tony Carter was always a guy who I just loved talking to Tony Carter still to this day. He's defensive coordinator now in the XFL
Yeah, he is.
on Terrell Buckley's staff.
Tough year.
BJ Dean is a guy. It's a deep cut.
Wow, deep cut.
Fullback when I first got here because we used to go out. The media we were allowed to because Coach Bowden didn't really care.
Yeah.
So in the summer when they would do their summer workouts, we would just show up. Like
That's
Dean and I and a few other people would just show up.
Fourth song on side 2 of the 77 record. Not a lot of people know that record. That's a very deep cut.
deep
Really
cut.
well done.
So
People know the hits, but they don't know that one.
So we would go out there in the summer, and Leon Washington and BJ Dean would just come over and just shoot the bull. And so, like, I got to know them really well. I love Leon too.
Yeah.
But BJ, like, was just like having like a buddy, like a.
You know who I liked a lot was Clint Trickett.
I like Clint a lot too. Yeah.
A
Good call.
Yeah, he's up there too.
All right, there it is.
Well,
Todd Rebo.
we
I
bring
up
ours
Todd
up.
Rebo every
Yeah.
time. I love Todd Rebo, but I don't know Todd. I just loved him. I loved watching him play.
It's cool that we got a Rebo clone coming in this year too.
We do.
With Nicholson.
Perhaps a better athlete than Todd, but we're making
Todd's a good
assumptions.
athlete now.
I know. Yeah.
I'm just
Better
saying.
hair.
Definitely better hair.
All right. Garrett writes, gentlemen, over under 1.5 coaching changes after this next year. I'm going to go under. I think there'll just be maybe one.
Yeah, I'd say under.
I was always going to say
They
under.
could
He's
get-
worried about.
They could get rated.
Well,
That's
right,
what I
right.
mean. Yeah, I don't
but-
think it's gonna be a firing.
No, this doesn't have to be nefarious. Like, what do you think? Over under 1.5?
Yeah, I'd say under.
I say over.
You think it's going to be 2?
I think they're gonna have a big enough year that some other schools might call.
Well, and that's my fear. I think there's going to be one change that I'm just predicting, period. And then there's the chance that somebody comes in and grabs one of the other coaches after a really successful year. That's tough. I'm going to go under. Maybe I'm just being wishful, hopeful. Gentlemen, if we had McClain this year, our wide receivers could be Eminem, Young, Hakeem, Snoop Douglas, DJ Johnny, and Dr. Dre. Yes, Corey can use those for for Noles NWA. My question is,
Noles
Noles WA.
Noles with attitudes.
Can Destin Hill play safety?
I bet he did some in his is he it is May, Ira. We have the calendar is turned to May.
Those kids are coming like next week. This weekend or next week. Summer classes start next week.
Okay.
So we'll know by this time next week. Next time we do a Seminole Headlines, people, we're going to have evidence of whether or not Destin Hill is here.
We should be on campus,
Do you
whatever
believe
class
that?
he goes
Yeah,
into.
I was going to say, do we believe that's true?
Is he going to walk into a classroom on Florida State's campus
They
next
should just,
week?
everybody in the class should just get up and applaud.
Yeah. Well, a slow clap. Like a slow clap as he walks in.
No,
and then
raucous. I think it should be raucous.
well, it gets raucous at the end, Ira, but it starts off as a slow clap.
So to this point, Brian wrote, it's officially May. Has anyone seen Destin Hill with Michael leaving? Who is our best bet at punt returner?
Not him.
And love the entertainment, guys. Oh, and congrats to Corey and Stephanie.
Oh,
Yes,
thank you.
Brian.
Thank
There
you.
go.
Might be sending out some save the date cards. Here,
Oh,
guys.
man, this is moving very quickly.
Kim and I were talking about last night. Kim's like, so if Corey has a bachelor party in Vegas, are you guys going to Vegas?
Of course.
Yes.
I said, I don't think Corey's having a bachelor party in Vegas.
Well, you think again.
Yeah, buddy, let's go.
It might be New Orleans.
Okay.
But it's also, I think it's going to be a combined bachelorette party. It's our second one.
Yeah, you guys.
We're gonna
It's
mix
old
and
hat
match.
at this
Yeah,
point,
we're gonna
yeah.
make. It's not gonna be like debaucherous.
Yeah,
that's a word, right?
Yes,
debaucherous.
Yeah.
What
As long as it's somewhere fun like that, do it up, Corey. Let's get on.
Yeah,
it.
man, I know.
Let's go.
Hey, we could go to Augie Doggy and just get a beach house in St. Augustine.
So my bachelor party was in Valdosta, Georgia.
Ooh, really did it up.
Corey, Corey was there.
I was there.
Man, you got
And
loose.
Corey almost got
I didn't almost
thrown
get
out.
anything. I did not. I was being very complimentary.
So-
I was
so
very
he-
complimentary to
waitress
the
or-
dancers.
So he
but not like you're so hot. I can't. It was like you're a very
Ooh,
good
I
dancer.
got uncomfortable hearing
he
that.
gave them high fives.
I did give them high
in
fives.
lieu of tips, he gave them high fives.
Was it
which
for like a
they didn't-
split?
Yes, they were.
They
some
didn't-
of them were talented dancers.
the high fives didn't mean as much to them as maybe a tip would have. Then he walked off with this one girl. This one girl went on the stage and she took off her like it was like a scarf. It was like a scarf type thing.
Yeah.
And she took it off and put it around his neck or whatever.
Mhm.
So he was wearing it and then he just disappeared.
And he stole
And
it. He stole
She
it.
was not happy.
No.
I mean, but she knew I wasn't trying to steal that stupid thing. I was too drunk to know it was on me. Anyway, so hopefully we'll probably won't go to Valdosta, but we'll go somewhere
And
else.
the way that he teed up Valdosta just now, I thought
Sounds
this
like maybe
can't
that's where we
miss.
should
We
go.
should go to Valdosta.
yeah, they'll remember me.
All right. So New Orleans. We're going to
I
New
think
Orleans.
New Orleans would be a good time. What
you
was
know-
the first part of that question?
Las Vegas.
The first part of the question.
First part of the question was Las Vegas.
No, not Las Vegas. I'm not flying. We're not doing that. I got to fly to Ireland. I'm not flying to Vegas. Already been
I don't remember what the first part of that question was. I've moved on.
there. Okay.
Oh, was it the Destin Hill thing with Michael leaving? Who's going to
about
return
punt
punts?
return.
Yeah.
I think Winston Wright's the guy you trust there.
My answer to every question. It could be Winston Wright. My answer to every question is Vandrevius Jacobs.
You can't throw him out there against LSU, man.
Vandrevius
You
Jacobs.
can't do it. You can't.
That's my answer to
All
every
right.
question.
I like
I
it.
wouldn't mind
What about
it.
what are we going to do about that? Vandrevius Jacobs?
That's a good one.
Just
Slot,
need
outside.
somebody that catches the ball.
I think the second,
and I'm not saying he
consistent
can't
answer,
catch it.
The second most consistent answer is also, well, Winston Wright could be that guy.
Yeah.
Could be.
Yeah.
That's the second most consistent. Like, who's the other receiver that's going to emerge? Winston Wright could be that guy.
You think about Winston Wright is 3 times more accomplished as a college football
Yes.
wide receiver than Micah Pittman. I mean, he had 120 catches coming in here. He was the guy. He was even bigger than Johnny. So if he can get back to that, that's like a portal guy.
Right.
You just got a portal guy that you haven't seen yet.
Yeah.
That had 120 catches over 2 years.
It's a big if, though, at this point. We don't know. I hope so. You never really know coming off of an injury and a surgery and all that stuff. And, I thought they took it really slow with him.
Yeah, I was hoping to see a little more out of him, but I get why you wouldn't.
Yeah, I
It's
think
his
they're
5th spring practice.
Yeah,
But
seeing him in the spring doesn't do anything for anybody. They know he can play.
yeah.
You just want to get him totally healthy. And,
Get him feeling right up here, too, like that he can trust that he can cut and do those things.
But if he's that guy,
it's huge. It'd be a big
it's a
deal.
big deal.
Matt writes, I heard Bless Harris looked great in the spring. He did. Give me your forecasted, starting 5 on the offensive line. We get this a lot, guys.
Yeah, I mean, I'd still stick with him and Robert Scott. I mean, I think those are your tackles. I'd go Maurice at center because I'm never betting against Maurice Smith again. And then I would say Roddick and Dimitri Emmanuel.
Not Byers.
I think Byers comes off the bench. That's what I think. At least
I like Byers to be in the starting 5 somewhere. Don't know where.
Yeah, I do too.
Yeah, just don't. It would have been nice to have seen him more at guard. And I don't think he's going to I don't know that he's going to beat out Bless Harris or
Robert Scott's got a battle on his hands.
Yeah, he does.
It's going to be interesting because
they all have battles on their hands.
That's the best part.
Maurice Smith has a battle on his hands. He started here for 3 years.
I just like that they have to fight for their starting jobs. Nothing against him.
I'll be honest. I'd like Casey Roddick every day to snap the ball into the wall 50
You got to
times.
think that that's like right. I mean, that has to.
I mean, he is straight snapping it on the ground like it's his job.
But he had never done it before.
I know.
And now he's got 4 months to work on it.
Yes.
I mean, come on, man. It cannot be that hard. It just can't be. It cannot be.
Get a garage and just snap the ball consistently into the garage door. Do something. Come on, Casey.
If you were on campus and you ran into him, would you offer
toss him a ball real quick?
Hey,
go snap this.
You
Snap
need somebody to catch for you?
Yeah, I'll sit there for 30 minutes and just catch your snaps. But I'm not bending down. Know that.
Yeah.
And
If it goes by me, you're going to get it like it's Brady.
Yeah, exactly right. I'm not going to get that. You go get it.
Frederick writes, gents, something about Blackman being out of college and heading to the NFL feels like the end of an era. FSU's stretch of 5 turbulent years from his sudden start in that Alabama game in 2017 to this 10-win season all happened while Blackman was in college.
Yeah,
something about him.
Go ahead. Finish. I'm sorry.
Something about him transitioning to the NFL and FSU hopefully transforming back to national relevance seems poetic in a way. I don't know. Both FSU and Blackman have gone through a lot these last 6 years. And this moment feels like the page has turned in the positive for both FSU and him. Thoughts?
Is that Seymour or is it a Twitter blue file person?
That's a Twitter. No, that's a.
There's no way that was 140, 280 characters.
That's a Facebook question.
Yeah, that was a Seymour.
Yeah, that's a Seymour.
All right, going back to the question from earlier. James Blackman.
Did he sign with the team?
Yeah, Dolphins.
Oh,
yeah.
Sorry, Tua.
James Blackman comes in.
Okay.
Has to play. They had an emergency. James Blackman has to play for the Dolphins against the Bucks.
Oh boy,
leads the Dolphins to win. Would you feel good for James Blackman?
Yes, I would.
You would.
There it is.
Same with the Falcons too.
Yeah,
I'm not.
James Blackman, you can beat any of our NFL teams.
We don't care. By the way, the Bucks are going to be awful this year. I would root for James Blackman.
Yeah, you want to get Caleb Williams.
Yeah, I'd be like, come on, James, make that throw.
Yeah, no, James is definitely a guy you would root for. I didn't know he signed with the Dolphins. That's awesome. That's good for him.
That is cool.
He won't make the roster, but he
it's
signed
cool.
with them.
We know.
Well, I'm just saying, don't act like that's awesome. We're going to watch him.
Well, he gets to go to an NFL camp.
No, I'm happy for him. I'm just saying, like, guys, it doesn't mean that he's on the Dolphins.
Or maybe he wins the starting job.
Maybe he kills it, and James Blackman is out here starting on Sundays. That would be something.
Yeah.
When the first meeting he went to at Florida State, we won't spend much more time on James Blackman, but just gives you an idea of like what your hopes can be and then what ends up happening. The first meeting when the freshman reported that year, he like blew the coaching staff away because he stood up in the middle of the meeting and like basically told everybody that like because the year before they hadn't been good. Like, and he was like,
well, they went to the Orange Bowl.
Well, they weren't back to what they had been.
Sure.
And he's like, we're going to win a national title. Like he stood up as a true freshman in the first meeting at FSU and like just showed all this leadership characteristics and like the coaching staff was blown away. And I remember thinking, well, this is a big deal. This kid's going to be.
That's going to be the story you write when you're writing.
When he's leading them to a national championship, and then his career
didn't work out.
Not all his fault, probably.
Mostly not his fault. I mean, he wasn't great either. But man, wow, that was a tough position to be in. And his head coach was just like, "Yeah, he's ready to go. Yep. We're all good." What? No, I don't think there's any drop off whatsoever. I think we're just good to go.
Just run the
same
offense.
We're just going to run the offense.
Yeah, the offense is the offense. He'll adjust.
What are we doing? This poor kid. Seminole headlines and headliner questions will continue in just a moment. 93.3 Real Talk Radio, Warchant TV.
My man, Eddie.
Jeff, what's happening, dude?
Bears eating people all over the place. I read another article today. It's the third one in the last month of somebody getting mauled to death by a bear.
Man, bears have their own space. Well, you got to let them have that.
You do. You got to stay clear of bears is what you're saying.
Yes.
I got a question for you. Here you go. If you had to be mauled to death, eaten alive by any animal in the world, which would you choose to eat you alive?
Ooh, I think maybe I'd want, I don't know, longevity time, a mouse.
Just a slow burn.
Slow burn.
This thing just finished the pinky. It's been a month.
I could go to work. I could still do my thing. I could probably live 30 years.
I thought you were going to say great white because it'd be quick, or a grizzly. We went with mouse.
Yeah, mouse.
Okay. Mouse it is.
Gordo's, bringing the flavor and flair of Cuban food to Tallahassee since 1996.
At Pinch A Penny Pool, Patio, and Spas, it's prime time hot tub season. And after a long, stressful day, there's nothing like soaking in a hot tub with all that steam. And it has lots of great health benefits, too. Pinch A Penny Pool, Patios, and Spas is your true hot tub headquarters. Save today on the hot tub of your dreams at prices you can afford. Come and shop our 12,000 square foot showroom and find the right model for you. With over 50 hot tubs in stock, you're sure to find the one that's just right. And for a limited time, take advantage of a free spa cover with purchase of your new hot tub. That's around a $400 value, completely free with your purchase. If you're ready to relax, we're here to show you how. Pinch A Penny Pool, Patios, and Spas. Come see us at 2473 Greer Road. Pick out your hot tub and enjoy your free cover. You'll be glad you did.
Wooden Glass has been taking care of families since 1945.
Experienced, reliable professionals who offer only the best, like Wooden's top-of-the-line bath enclosures. Eye-catching storefronts are a specialty at Wooden Glass, and they provide precise installation.
Wooden Glass, Tallahassee's first family in glass. Online at woodenglass.com. Call 850-222-5781.
Honey, I just got a text from Dave. He wants us to come over for a barbecue. What's our excuse for not going?
Oh, no need for an excuse anymore because Dave got a new grill from Hearth and Patio.
Oh, thank goodness. Dave, we will be happy to join y'all this weekend, and congrats on the new grill from Hearth and Patio. My wife said she would bring potato salad.
Hearth and Patio invites you to elevate your grilling game this year with one of their amazing grills from Fire Magic, Royal Master, or Blaze Grills. Call them today, 850-727-4282. That's 850-727-4282, or visit them online at hearthpatiotallahassee.com. Hearth and Patio, making barbecues great in the Sunshine State.
Honey, Dave said no raisins in the potato salad this time.
Call them today, 850-727-4282. That's 850-727-4282, or visit them online at hearthpatiotallahassee.com.
Life is stressful. Dinner shouldn't be. That motto is why Register Sausage has been doing business in the Florida Panhandle and Lower Alabama for over 75 years. A proud sponsor of Seminole Headlines, Register Sausage always provides the best Southern smoked sausage to over 140 grocery stores and restaurants throughout the Southeast. Headliners have discovered the Register's difference. You can too. To find a store that carries Registers near you or to buy directly, head to registermeats.com. That's registermeats.com. Register Sausage. Yay, sausage!
Seminole Headlines returns now. Head to YouTube and search for Warchant TV today to catch the show live or on demand. Now, here's Jeff Cameron, Ira Schofel, and Corey Clark.
I thought they were going to break ground on the football-only facility after the UF game. If so, what happened? Writes Jason.
They did break ground. There was a ceremonial breaking of ground. And a couple months later, they actually did dig up some stuff, and they're doing some plumbing type work and things like that.
So it was a ruse?
No, it is. They're working on it. It's just not quite as quickly. But no, they are doing some stuff infrastructure wise.
Yeah.
But I think we'll see the big machinery, the big heavy lifting coming later.
Is it
That's
because of the time of year or something that they can't dig into the dirt until June? Like it's May, Ira. They clipped that ribbon with the scissors.
They gave
December.
They gave an 18 to 24 month timeline, and I think I said at the time I'd lean towards the 24.
24. Okay, good.
It's pretty funny. Yeah. Well, hey, listen, I'm not worried about it.
We have seen they had dug up the stuff between the practice fields and Hauser. There's a lot of pipes, guys. There's pipes for days down there.
Dirt has been moved.
Yeah.
We haven't seen anybody working there. Big blue pipes.
And that little fire hydrant.
Yeah. And by the way, I'm told that was mainly for that little fire hydrant.
One little fire
You have to have the access. There's a certain amount of fire hydrant access you have to have before you can really move forward with the building.
Really?
True story.
Yeah, and the water apparently used to run on the other side of the IPF,
that's
and now they
correct.
had to get it on this side.
Very specific thing. Oh, boy. Hey, buddy, you can't be against the fire codes. What's wrong with you?
I know. I get it. I mean, it seems like there's a lot of grass and brick. You don't need to. Well, how much money do they spend, would y'all say, to move all that dirt and install all that?
I'm not worried about it. We're going to be all right. Don't worry about it. Just keep winning football games. That thing will get built. David writes, hey, gents, couple questions about the secondary. Can you elaborate on the differences between the skill sets of corners and safeties and why some like Duke or maybe AZ wouldn't want to switch? Yeah, in a nutshell, corners are cover guys, and safeties often have to play, well, especially strong safeties have to play closer to the line of scrimmage and tackle people. That's it in a nutshell.
Yeah, and corners usually get paid more in the NFL, so I think that's.
I would argue. Go ahead.
No, I think it's more high profile position, right?
It is. It is a high profile position. It's also a harder position to play. Corner, outside of quarterback, corner is the hardest position to play in football, in my opinion. You are left in coverage in space with a person who knows where they're going. Usually that person is exceptionally fast.
Yes.
And you are now you get safety help, but you don't have much safety help until we're much further down the field. And so it's an incredibly difficult job.
And so in slot corner to me is the craziest one because they could go either way. At least you have a sideline as an outside corner.
Yeah.
But regardless, that's why some players they'd prefer to play corner if they could because it's more marketable. It's seen as more of the high profile position. But yeah, from a skill set standpoint, you don't want, again, like I think they you'd like a longer, bigger dude at
stronger
safety
dude at safety
because they're covering tight ends. And so and they got to come up and hit and run support.
That's the biggest. They cover tight ends. They got to tackle.
And so when you look at some of the experienced corners they have that they feel like they could play safety, Jarian Jones and even Greedy Vance, but they're all 6 foot or under.
Traditional safeties now.
So they could do it, but it's not what you'd want.
Also, corners won't admit this, but most corners are a lot like receivers in the sense that they don't want to have to tackle. They don't want to get hit. They're prima donnas in that way. I mean, they're skilled, elite, fast twitch, flip your hips and go athletes. But they're not down with coming up and having to tackle a dude at 228 pounds. I mean, it's just not fun.
And that's also why when you are a receiver and you like to block, the way like Micah Pittman and Johnny Wilson, those guys, the reason those corners usually get driven into next week is
they don't want to deal with that.
They don't really want to be part of
that. They want no part of that nonsense. AZ, I think, has the best chance at 6'2", nearly 200 pounds. He's got the build for it. I don't know if he wants to hit you or not, or what his deal is.
I don't know that he's going to play a lot if he doesn't move to safety.
Right.
You know what I mean?
They want to move him inside and nickel. Yeah, I mean,
yeah. But I mean, they've got good nickels. I think that
he makes the most.
He makes the most sense to me. Somebody came back at us in the chat last night and was saying, yeah, but he probably wouldn't want to do it, and that's fair.
Maybe, but I bet he'd rather be on the field than on the sideline.
David went on to say in the second part of that question is the new man Patrick Surtain or Adam Fuller with an added sense of urgency, making it difficult for guys like Travis J. Thanks as always. Well, Travis doesn't have to worry about anything anymore. He's gone.
Yeah.
And Travis struggled, period, unfortunately. And you know what? We'll see if he goes on to have success or not. They've been a little unlucky there. They've had 2 guys transfer out. I don't know that they
3
really,
if you count McCall.
Yeah.
Actually, if you go back to the end of last season, they had like 6 DBs transfer out.
Well, in the McCall situation's tough to begin with.
Sidney Williams left. Those guys.
By the way, I hated that Sidney Williams left.
He would be a nice player.
He'd be a nice player right now. I loved him because he would hit you. He was nasty. He had no problem coming up and hitting people.
Yeah. He's rather be in Missouri. I mean, I know it ended up the way it ended up. It's just, I wish he'd have been a little more patient, maybe.
Yeah. But that's the hardest part. This is something that Norvell said to me. I asked him about these conversations that you have, and without getting specific to players, he's like, some kids are just, everybody matures at different stages. We all know that, right? I was a late bloomer. I was very immature. I just think back on it now. But they won't listen to a coach who tells them, listen, we have a plan for you. Right now you're frustrated because you're behind this group, but I really think in a year or 2, you're our guy at this spot. That's what you're best suited to do. You can only lay that plan out there. And if the kid doesn't want to hear it, or he doesn't like what your answer is,
fast food society, Ira.
What are you going to do?
Fast food society.
Or a microwave society.
Microwave society, yeah.
Who's the most mechanically inclined of you? It ain't me.
Not me.
Not me. None of us.
I know I'm the least.
Okay, so Hugh writes, who is the most mechanically inclined of the 3 of you? You just heard from all 3 of us that none of us are. Are any of you able to change a flat tire? I
Yes,
can.
yeah, I can do that.
Yes.
I can do that.
Hugh, we are men.
Yeah.
can you change the oil in your car?
Nope.
Nope. Can't do that. Nope. Never wanted to
And
either.
no matter how many guys who will tell you that you can do it and it's easy,
It's not
no,
that
I have no
easy.
interest.
Yeah.
It
I don't
costs-
even want to. I'll pay for somebody to do it because I can.
I just paid $70 the other day for it.
Yeah.
I don't mind.
Yeah, I don't
That's
mind.
fine.
Yeah.
That's me not getting underneath this car.
Yeah, that's right. And if I
Getting
need
all
to
dirty.
yeah, fixing stuff.
Come on, man.
All that
Yeah, what is it?
nonsense.
1981
He
over
said,
here?
"Can you build a tree fort?" Nope.
We could build a tree fort.
Probably
it wouldn't
not.
be a great tree
It
fort.
wouldn't
Man,
be
we'd get on,
sound. Somebody
we'd get
would
on
die.
YouTube and
Yeah.
watch a video of
We
how to
should
build
build
a
a tree
fort.
fort.
No, we should.
That would be so fun.
I can't think of anything worse. For what? We wouldn't even get to use it. It'd be for kids probably.
No,
Can you
we could go up
fix?
there.
Can you fix a leaking sink?
No, I have one right now. If anybody else wants to offer, in fact,
Matt Millar can fix your sink, but I will tell you,
Matt, give a guy a call.
I can because I watched a guy do it, but if it gets much more, if something's not stripped, like, oh, it's just stripped, you need this.
I got something stripped.
Like a ring. I need a ring. Oh, I can get the ring. What size ring is it? I'll pull it up on you. I can do that.
Well,
Outside
maybe you
of
can
that,
come by.
well, I'm not, yeah. But if there's anything more than that, we're done dealing. I got no
It's so
shot.
bad in my life that Stephanie went up to my house last weekend in Atlanta. We were up there for like a week, and my mom was having problems with her toilet, and she asked Stephanie to go fix her toilet.
That's a wise choice.
And it was a wise choice because
Hey.
I have no interest, number one, and I would not do it well.
So final part of
Stephanie's
Hugh's question,
mechanically inclined.
which really makes me laugh, is if Corey called Jeff one day and asked him to come over and fix his shower, what would happen?
Well, we'd get some PVC pipe. Probably,
what
obviously,
would
some
happen
21,
is me
22s.
laughing in his face and telling him to go to hell, and
Yeah.
I'll to call a plumber is what
Yeah.
would happen. There's no
How many
chance.
people did you call before me?
How
Yeah.
did you have? How did
Why
you?
am I on this phone call?
How did you happen upon me? You know I'm not.
That's crazy too, because I do need my shower fixed.
Oh my
Hugh,
lord!
it's like Hugh's a
yeah.
he knows my
Sees
life.
things.
He sees things. I do need
Nostradamus, Hugh over
I
here.
need my shower fixed. So if any of you guys want to come over and fix my shower,
Yeah,
reach out. Reach out.
Matt writes, do players that enter the portal only do so if they know for certain that other schools are interested? No. Sometimes they do it, as we said earlier, just based on emotion and anger.
Sometimes they know, but right now there's 3,000 players in the portal. Isn't that right? Like over 3,000 players in the
3,200
portal.
or something.
And there's a good chance over 1,000 are not going to have new homes. So yeah, it happens all.
He goes on and asks, is it more of a formality in most instances?
No, it can be, but it's not always.
Yeah. And our
I don't think Sidney Williams was a formality. He went in there and wanted to see what offers he had. Yeah, I think that's how it probably goes for most.
Yeah, like Sydney, I think he felt like he had been passed by.
Yeah.
He had been a starter and he lost it.
Are some just putting their name in and guessing / hoping that a good Power 5 program will give them a call?
Let me ask you that.
Yeah.
So Zane Herring's a good example.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like he just signed with USF. That's nice. That's a nice spot for Zane Herring.
Yeah.
Like, do you think he probably had a little bit of concern about whether or not
Closer
he
to
was going to get
Mons?
calls? That is.
A lot closer to Mons and Dale Mabry.
Or he could have gone to
famed-
Valdosta
they-
State and gone to
Oh, yeah,
strip
to where
club.
we were.
Could have gone.
So yeah, I mean, don't you think he might have had a little concern?
Yeah, I don't think Zane expected people to be knocking down the door. But that is a good fit for USF for him.
Yeah.
For him, yeah.
And he wants to, another guy. He wants to play, and they've recruited over him.
There's nothing wrong with having figured out that you've been passed over, if you will, and that there are 2 and 3 guys ahead of you at your spot, and you're never going to beat them out. And in fact, 2 of them are younger than you. You might as well take it on down the road if you plan on playing football. Some of the guys on the roster don't mind having been beat out, and if they did, they got over it. And they're happy at Florida State. Tallahassee's a good place to go
I
to
feel
school
like
now.
I'd be that guy. I'd love to be a third string quarterback.
Yeah,
I mean, that
yeah.
is the best gig on
just,
earth.
Just didn't win the job. What
Second string
what a
punter.
bummer.
I mean, it doesn't matter, man. It's just awesome. You're a part of the team. You get to go on trips, and you don't have any pressure. You got to. I would realize I'm not playing the NFL, so I'm just trying to milk these last few.
Yeah,
colleges.
but you get to walk into classrooms and bars all over
Wearing
Tallahassee
your
and
gear.
let them
Oh,
know
yeah.
that you play for
And I got
State. Yeah,
stories. Yeah, I know Jordan Travis. He's
Yeah.
on my phone.
Yeah.
You want me to text
It's
him?
in my segment group. We're watching film together tonight.
I was
One of
over
my-
his house last night.
Yeah.
One of my favorite college subtext that goes on is when guys walk on for a semester and they get some gear or they borrow some gear or they're they get loaned some gear, gym shorts, whatever. And then they wear that on campus.
Yeah, of course.
And the scholarship guys really hate it because they feel like they're being impersonated
Yeah.
and it's
Like,
being used to get
You're like,
girls.
this slappy is not on the team.
That's always funny. Like that hidden subtext that nobody else realizes is happening.
Ambassador to Florida writes, Travis J is the most hard to understand portal entry this year. He was going to be on the field, it seems. He has no tape for 2 seasons.
Yeah.
Did someone get in his head? Does he have an offer already? Why did he leave?
I think he...
Did they push him?
No, I don't think they did. No, in fact, I know they didn't push him. I think he...
Well, then that is weird.
I think he thinks he could be a starting football player, and he's not going to start here. That's what I think.
But he was going to play.
Yeah, but he wasn't going to start. So, I mean, I agree with you. I think he should have stayed. I think they wanted him to stay. And I think the only thing that makes sense is because he's not a guy that anybody's paying a big NIL deal for. I think he thinks he can go play somewhere.
Doesn't he seem like a candidate to go to Colorado?
That's not what I'm hearing.
Colorado's in that business. I mean, he hadn't done anything.
Yeah,
no, but he would instantly be one of the best athletes on their roster.
Sure,
Again, they'd have to get something out of him, but they have no athletes at Colorado, so I mean.
And then things can always change. I heard it's probably going to be it could be an FCS school even.
Well, that's
Corey, you're applying again.
I know.
We talked about this earlier.
That's illogical. It's irrational.
Who is the least talked about player? Sometimes you just got to get away.
Oh, yeah. Like Southwest.
Who is the least talked about player who will be crucial to FSU's success? So who's somebody we're not talking about that we think has a chance to be crucial to FSU's success?
I bet Darius Washington, because I don't know if that counts, but like nobody's ever really going to talk about Darius Washington. But I think he may end up being the number 2 center.
Yeah, you move him around,
and he
all
can play him in all
place.
those positions, and he's solid. Like he'll be there. He'll be available.
I only say this because I feel like we do a good job of talking about kind of everyone that will matter.
You gonna go receiver?
Fitzgerald.
Fitzdog.
Fitzmagic.
Take that, Jeff.
Fitzmagic.
Take that, ETSU. Take that.
It's
SU.
hard to matter, and it's hard to be crucial when you're a
not on the
second-string
field.
kicker.
You're the second-string kicker.
Yeah, it's hard to matter.
I can't wait till we're playing our roles in August, and I'm Fitzgerald, and
I'm Etsu.
You're Etsu kid.
Again.
Yeah.
All these years later.
Because, man, they lost a game. They only lost one game because of him, but they lost the NC State game because they did not trust him. And if they had a real kicker that they were confident in, they would have won that game because they were well within field goal range, and NC State didn't have any time. I mean, it was perfect, and they throw a pick. So I think, man, if you have a competent, solid kicking game to go with this offense, you're going to score a ton of points. You're going to score a lot of points anyway, but it does change the calculus when you don't trust
so either one of those kickers, whoever wins the job.
Yep. I think that's going to be a big deal, man. You're going to be in some close games. It might come down to the LSU game, might come down to some kicks, just like it did last year.
Yeah, I'm trying to think if any of the receivers that we don't talk a lot about.
Ja'Kai, maybe. I mean, because he's a guy, he can hit he can hit a big play.
Yeah.
I mean, he's done it. He set up the game winner against Miami.
I mean, I feel like we talk about Winston Wright. We talk about all the guys. So I'm just trying to think of anybody that would fit that category. We talk about Jaheim Bell now at tight end, so it can't be him. No, I don't.
Did we talk about Greedy enough?
I mean, Greedy had a good camp, didn't he?
We don't talk about Greedy and Jarian enough, but probably. But I mean, we do mention them. So I was just trying to think of somebody that's like completely off the radar that maybe wouldn't even be in the top 40 of the original Warchant top 40 list. And I think Fitzgerald fits the bill.
I was trying to think if maybe I think you guys have summed it up pretty well. We got to get to more questions. We'll do so in a minute. Seminole Headlines 93.3 Real Talk Radio Warchant TV continues in a moment.
Your local news now.
A new playground is finally open in Fort Braden after months of planning and construction. Leon County Commissioners helped fund the $300,000 project. It's also the first ADA fully accessible playground in the county. The new playground isn't the only project officials have been working on in Fort Braden. The county is planning on installing new lighting along the walking path and trees to provide shade at the park. They're also working on a sidewalk project to keep kids who walk to Fort Braden School safe. It'll run west of the school to the Dollar General. A pedestrian was seriously injured during an incident involving a vehicle at Hamilton Avenue and McCall Street in Hamilton County Sunday night. At 10:50 p.m., a sedan was traveling north on Hamilton. The male pedestrian attempted to cross the road in front of the vehicle, which led to the front of the vehicle striking the pedestrian. After the collision, the pedestrian was transported to South Georgia Medical Center. This is Rachel Anay with your Real Talk 93.3 Local News Update, brought to you by Macklemore Systems, Tallahassee's go-to Mac store. Check them out online at MacklemoreSystems.com.
This is meteorologist Paul Trombley with your Real Talk 93.3 weather update.
Sunny skies this afternoon with daytime highs approaching 82. Winds out the west, 10 to 15 miles per hour. Partly cloudy skies tonight. Lows dip down to about 57. Highs level off around 81 tomorrow. Bright sunshine. Highs around 84 Thursday under clear skies. 87 Friday. This report is brought to you by The Lawn Johns. For all your landscaping and lawn care needs, visit thelawnjohns.com. Right now, 82.
A cup of Joe, Java, Brew, Go-Go Beans, Brainwater, Liquid Lightning, Wakey Juice, whatever you call your cup of coffee, you're missing out if it's not Grassroots Coffee. At grassrootscoffee.com, you'll find an easy way to order the best roasted coffee beans available. It's very simple. Choose the blend you want and how you want it ground, and the bag you receive will have the date your beans were roasted and packaged on it, all written by hand and signed by the roast master himself. You'll know that's as fresh as it gets. You can get Grassroots outside of your house also at some of your favorite restaurants in town. Next time you're out to eat, try asking for Grassroots Coffee by name, because there's a good chance they will have it for you. And if you own a business, Grassroots Coffee has options to stock your break rooms with all the productivity powder your team needs. Plus, like some other options that you'll find at work, Grassroots Coffee actually is a part of our community. Hit grassrootscoffee.com today and get yourself a treat. Some locally owned, locally roasted, and locally loved Grassroots Coffee.
Life is stressful. Dinner shouldn't be. That motto is why Register Sausage has been doing business in the Florida Panhandle and Lower Alabama for over 75 years. A proud sponsor of Seminole Headlines, Register Sausage always provides the best Southern smoked sausage to over 140 grocery stores and restaurants throughout the Southeast. Headliners have discovered the Register's difference. You can too. To find a store that carries Registers near you or to buy directly, head to registermeats.com. That's registermeats.com. Register Sausage. Yay, sausage!
Seminole Headlines returns now. Head to YouTube and search for Warchant TV today to catch the show live or on demand. Now, here's Jeff Cameron, Ira Schofel, and Corey Clark.
Let's keep these questions rolling here. Is there... I don't want to answer that. There's a question about why PK Sam hates FSU. You want to answer that?
Another
Fine
question. Tweet out there.
I didn't see it.
Yeah, that's fine. Don't worry about it.
I know that
celebrating Deion raiding Florida State's roster.
Oh, okay. I know this isn't Cornhusker headlines, but with Casey Thompson transferring, am I the only one intrigued to see who wins the starting job at Nebraska between Sims and Chubba Purdy?
Yeah, how about that?
Are they the top two?
Yeah,
I guess. I think
Yeah.
Sims is the guy they think is going to win it. But
That's wild.
yeah, what a crazy day we live in.
Fellas, do you think Deuce Spann can be used in a Tamori and Terry type role? Basically just a deep threat to keep the other defense honest. Also, can Destin Hill, if he exists, catch and return punts?
Was he a return guy back in the teens when he played high school football?
In the teens, back in the aughts.
Yeah.
You would think. I don't know for sure. I would and Deuce, I mean, yeah, you would think. But I don't.
I mean, let's not besmirch Tamori and Terry's
you're right.
ability by saying that Deuce can. They're just a dime a dozen. He does have some similar characteristics, but I mean, it didn't look like in the spring he was taking that jump that they would want him to take. But you know, he might.
Yeah, They really have to solve that problem. I was thinking about all the yardage 2 years ago that we lamented just down the drain, and then watching last year. Having just a sound individual making a catch, a simple catch. They played in some close games. That's going to be the difference maker between going 11-1 or 10-2.
They'll have somebody.
And Pokey was a deep threat. I mean, Pokey had the big one against Miami. He was probably the fastest receiver they had. So you do need to. He was a guy that you had to, contain a little bit on deep routes.
Michael wants to know, with a couple of unexpected names hitting the portal, does that open up any additional roster spots we didn't think we were going to have? Should FSU go searching for a linebacker, punt returner, safety now, or wait for the grad transfer market in the summer? Both.
Yeah, it looks like they're trying to get safety now, probably wide receiver now. It seems like maybe the defensive end linebacker, if those happen, might be later.
About tired of all this. It's too many windows. Well, you finally closed the window.
I actually think that's
and then a grad transfer window opens up in 3 weeks. When
viable topic here. They also have too many transfer portal windows. Like you have the one in December and then another one in spring. What are we doing?
They wanted to not have it be open 365 days a year. So they're trying to.
It needs to be open 2 weeks. Screw all of you after that. You get 2 weeks.
It's like just like you do for football.
I think December. I think this makes sense.
Because
if you do it in December, now you can go through spring practice somewhere else. And if you lose your job in the spring, now you have a chance to find another job.
So,
It seems like it makes sense.
Don't lose your job.
Yeah.
Hey, big guy.
Just be better
Be
there,
better.
Ira.
Be better. Maybe you
Stop
don't have
being
to
such
give
a
those
softy just because
stupid
you lost your
portal.
job, you sorry ass.
I feel like they found a good. I think this might be the sweet
Well, they
spot.
should do it for high school kids too. Let high school kids sign right now.
High school kids can do whatever the hell they want.
No, they can't sign though.
Oh.
Like if these kids, you have 2 windows for portal kids to sign. We'll have 2 windows for high school kids to sign. Or just
Mario,
have 1 window.
Mario writes, is the running clock after a first down going to end up being a plus or a negative for this team? It's kind of interesting.
I don't know.
I hadn't thought
I
about
don't think
it
it'll
as it
make
applies to this team. You don't think it's going to make a damn bit of difference?
I don't think it makes a huge difference.
I
honestly
you can
don't even
certainly,
know.
with as well as we're going to run the ball, you're talking about shortening games with the clock running. I don't know.
You don't want to shorten the game though.
I don't
if you're
think
the
so
better
either.
team.
I don't think so either.
But I just don't think you're talking about maybe 1 possession per game that you don't get because of all the total time that happens that gets lost for the but it was on average, what was it, 4 seconds between the ball being spotted and the ref?
Yeah.
So I don't know how much time you're actually losing. I said last week or 2 weeks ago that I would go back and like watch a game.
But
and
you didn't
count
do
up,
that.
and I have not done that.
Yeah.
I should though. I'm going to do that, Ira. That's one of my
It's a
suggestions
good task
for tomorrow.
for you.
Yeah.
So Mike Boehner in the chat says, Ira, it's pronounced capital V, lowercase I, star, which I guess is a space, capital G-E-R. So something gur. Is that vigor or is that vigor?
I would say, well, vigor would be spelled vigor.
Yeah. V-I-G-O-R.
It is spelled V-I-G-O-R.
Jinx.
Well, no, but I'm saying that's how you'd say it's pronounced then. So
Do you
I would
think
say
it's-
vigor,
So you think that's vigor?
like it rhymes with tiger.
All right. Well, apparently it's a power football program in Alabama. Thanks, Mike. Appreciate
I
it.
looked it up. It was I looked up a guy that he might be looking at. We have no idea, but he's a junior. He's a 2025 kid. He's one of the top offensive tackles in the country from Vigor High School, and he's a Georgia commit. He might be looking at somebody else. I don't know, but that's their biggest name on that team right now.
So we were thinking about just not. This person brought it up in the chat, and he's right. Like we're going to love the rule just fine. Although, if you're playing from behind in the fourth quarter, you'll certainly notice those wasted seconds.
Yeah,
Now, in the last 2 minutes, it does stop.
Yes. Yep.
Right.
Yeah. I still think. It won't be. I feel like because it was so hit or miss. Some officials were really on it. Some officials would let 8 seconds run off before they did it. So I guess now it's more uniform for sure.
You have any more questions you want us to answer, Ira?
Nope. Good.
I feel like we got to all of them.
No.
I'm fairly certain. I just like to get you
You
riled
may
up.
pull up my Twitter.
Go ahead. You probably find some ones that. Okay, here's one.
Ah.
Will we ever know NIL amounts being paid? Don't they have to pay taxes?
Yeah, but people don't get to see your taxes unless you're running for office or something. And even then,
Even then,
sometimes
you can
don't.
just say no. I'm not going to give them to you.
I think if you're a Heisman candidate,
Apparently.
you should have to reveal your tax forms.
As far as will we ever know official? I mean, I know some amounts, but official amounts,
no, because they don't want. Unlike the NFL that has a salary cap, there's nothing here, and you don't want your starting defensive end to maybe know that a freshman defensive end is making more money than him. So that would never be public. And you would almost like tell the kids that sign with you on your NIL deals, like this is you're not allowed to talk about this.
Yeah.
This is part of your contract is you don't tell anybody how much you're making.
Kevin asked,
Mhm.
what are your top three Seminole Headlines moments?
I was going to get to that one. I had it right here.
All right.
Do we have time? Only 3. That's so hard.
Top 3. I mean,
I think
reliving the squirrel attack. Has to be
Well,
number
last week's was all time great. Figuring out how to make Hauser lively with the pelvic thrust.
Oh yeah, that was a good one. Yeah,
all timer.
Making Jimbo dance in our front yard.
Yeah,
Making Jimbo dance was a good one.
That was a good one. Oh, we've been doing this show a long time, guys. We've been buckled over before.
Yeah.
I mean, back when we recorded this show, we have some on the floor cuts that you guys would love. Not just when we get loose with the language, but when we would push the envelope of going down a certain track and it would get out of control, and eventually
we'd have to stop.
We'd have to stop and be like, we probably can't do that.
Somebody asked this. This was a few years ago. It was before this studio. They asked. It was like the 19 season or the 17 season. Like, what sound would you make to describe this season? And I made a sound, and then I said something afterwards.
Yeah.
So the sound lasted about 8 seconds, and then what I said,
and then it got all bleeped out.
So it's a 13-second bleep because y'all didn't want me to say that.
Yeah.
Those 3 other words that came after it, And so it sounded like I was just going off on a rant for 15 seconds.
But it wasn't at all.
It
Yeah.
was just one long noise and then a 3-word phrase that y'all thought was inappropriate.
It was.
It
we
was
didn't
pretty
think
funny
it to
though.
be,
but it was almost.
yeah.
But it was funnier to hear the beep because everybody could use their imaginations for what I had said.
And back again when we recorded this, invariably once a month, one of us would come in a bad mood. One of us was having a bad day. Something it would rotate, and then
I
somebody
felt
would
like
say,
for some reason there would end up being like more hostility. Like I felt like there would be more times where you would have to threaten to come across the glass to see
get
us,
it together,
or
you two.
there would be some sort of
there have been a couple of all-time good arguments that where the three of us were arguing with each other, and we just thought it wasn't good content. But it might have been good content if it was a podcast where language didn't matter, like where we would get elevated in our argument till we just thought all decorum would go to the side. We'd be like, now look here,
Like the
bitch,
Dylan,
you are
like
wrong.
the Dylan
And we-
Gibbons.
yeah, we
I'm
would
still
get-
mad
yeah.
about y'all's framing of the Dylan
Oh,
Gibbons
no,
conversation.
no, you're wrong.
We're not doing it again.
Yeah, I'm just telling you.
And I thought it was a great conversation last week about all the several pitchers that
so
have improved on the.
so I got a DM from somebody who said he's like he goes, I'm just thankful that we have the YouTube feed because I could see your reactions on your face while you and Corey were
It's
arguing.
awesome. It's great. It has added a lot to it being on
My
YouTube.
my expression was, I'm going to sit here and watch these two yell at
was
each
funny.
other for as long as I can allow it before finally intervening and saying, okay, guys, we're arguing
Guys,
about like a 9-win team over here.
Hey,
At
they're
the top of
close.
our lungs.
They extended over this weekend. If you guys weren't following the baseball team, they extended their streak to I guess 60 straight years of 15 wins. They picked up that 15th win.
Got
So
that
that's
big
a
win.
big milestone. Now the next one is trying to get to 20, and they can be the 20 wins for 55 consecutive seasons.
Choco McNasty gave us a compliment and said, thanks for
I think it's Chaco.
Choco McNasty.
Thanks, Chaco.
Gave us love for all that we do. And then Walter wants to know, afternoon gents, what are the all-time 5 worst things to happen to the FSU football program? You have to agree on 2 and then pick, and then you each get 1 pick.
Willie Taggart.
Yeah.
That's in there.
Yep. Yes, that's a good one. A wide right. I'm going to throw a wide right in there.
I think the first wide right.
Yeah. I think that's a good one. Randy Moss getting kicked out of school.
That is my number 1. They would have won every
And
national
that's not even something
championship.
that happened to Florida State. Florida State did it to
Self-imposed.
itself.
Bobby did it. And I'll tell you now.
Sandy Dellenberg.
Well, Sandy should be ashamed
Bobby
of
should
himself.
have Sandy fired.
Well, yeah, I know. I know what you're going to say. Neither can speak for themselves here, but I'm just letting you.
Randy can. Randy can still speak
I was
for
letting
himself.
you know we would have won.
Right now, Corey's dad is giving Sandy Dellenberg shit.
Yeah, still.
Oh,
What's
whoa,
the matter
my
with
man.
you? I mean,
I'm turning his mic off.
Good
That's it.
grief. Can I go ahead and make that sound now?
No, that's it. Play the music. Play the music. Good job, Matthew. Goodness gracious. Thanks for listening, everybody. And we'll talk to you next time. Peace.